Hey there, Silver Tongue Devil here, and we are back in Death Unchained once again, and they've changed things again. So, as titled, we're going to be having a look at the Quest 3 update. Now, lots and lots and lots of little changes, and then some reasonably major changes to the first level of the game, but only the first level of the game. So what is this update for somebody who hasn't actually played the game yet? Everything already looked a little bit crisper and sharper on the Quest 3, mainly down to the pancake lenses. Now the power is being utilized. Everything looks a little bit crisper and a little bit clearer again. The level of detail has been pushed out. Again, I don't know if these things will come across in the actual live stream. They never really are done justice as far as video is concerned or live streaming. No VR is. But I can tell you that everything looks a little bit better and everything looks a little bit nicer. The refresh rate has gone from 72 Hz to 90. To be honest with you, I didn't even realize the difference until they've put the 90 on. I thought it was 90 already anyway. I think they're getting it ready for 120 Hz refresh rate. That was one of the things that I heard on the grapevine. There are lots and lots of little bump ups. I'm finding myself personally, the writing's a little bit clearer at a further distance. The details are a little bit clearer at a further distance. I'm also finding the mist has retreated another level back. One of the things that you wouldn't have been able to see quite as clearly as you see the archways, the tops of the archways. I don't remember being able to see them in the Quest 2 version or even the Quest 3 version, or if you could, they were wreathed in mist. Now they're quite prominent. So, lots and lots of cool things, lots and lots of good things. What does it ultimately mean? They're still working on our game. Yeah, they're still working on the game. So that's always good. Anyway, so let's get into the first level of the game. Now, the only caveat that I'll switch you guys back on now. The only caveat that I will give with all of this is it does reek a little bit of, quickly, we need to get something out in time for Christmas. Because I think the game's either 33 or 40% off right now, which is a fantastic price for this game if you haven't got it already. But yeah, it does feel like they were just trying to get something out of the door ready for Christmas. Anyway, let's get loaded up, shall we? Alright, what did I miss? No, the Pico 4 doesn't have better graphics now. Yeah, I don't know, Weebs. I don't know. I'll talk about it, because I had some initial thoughts, and then I've played it a little. And, yeah, I don't think anything's really changed from what I've said. So, first things first. Standing on this platform, I have stood on this platform before. Standing on this platform, you would not be able to see, and again, I don't know how it comes across in the stream, but you would not be able to see the silhouettes of those characters in the background quite as clearly. I can definitely tell that one of those is an archer and one of those is a knight, even if I didn't know that, because of how the spawns work. This is in part down to the fact that the mist, although it's still here as an effect, it's been clarified by whatever it is that they've done. Now, the obvious kind of elephant in the room. I feel as well we've also got a little bit more shading. Hello, Momity. Think we've got a little bit more shadowing coming in, because you can see it going lighter to darker here as well. So there's a little bit more play going on with the clouds and with the cloud cover, which is nice to see. We've got a little bit more shadowing going on as far as the level is concerned. But yeah, the elephant in the room is this. Now, Travis has said exactly what I thought. I said this about Desolation as well. Desolation, I think, is a fantastic level, top level, and a fantastic level, lower level, but the two don't really meet. I said to them, like, it's called Desolation. Shouldn't it all be, like, a bit, effed up? maybe. I was told no, that's not the vision. But Desolation, I would have liked to seen it like, you know, as it is on the top, and then that's going into pristine, but like effed up sort of thing. And then they could have used the lower levels as maybe pits for Desolation, like vaults. These were my suggestions at the time. They didn't like them. So why am I mentioning all of that? The cobblestone that we used to have was fine. It looks like somebody's played Power Washer VR in our lovely stage, and they've just held the pressure washer on the same... They've just gone over it and over it and over it and over it, and they've gone over the flooring so much that it's just smashed all the cobbles out, and we found that there's something out underneath. Ultimately, I don't think this mosaic-y... Like, it works all right in the courtyards, but on every single bit of flooring? I don't think so. I don't think it works. Do you know what I also don't like about it as well? Purgatory doesn't feel quite like home anymore. Purgatory used to feel like home. During cycle play, you come to Purgatory, Purgatory. I can relax. I know the levels, I know the layout, I know the look, I know the feel. So, let's get into things. Hello, LG. Yeah, I know, right? So, let's kill... Yes. Yeah, no, that's exactly what... But that's what I'm saying. It looks too clear. Yeah, go on. Go get this shopping done, Melissa. Come back and watch later. Or come back and see us later. Cheers, Melissa. So, the stairs are... It all just looks way too clean. Way too clean. And yeah, like, these mosaic things underneath, that's fine. But these, like, in every single thing. So yeah, that's exactly what I thought. It looks like indoor stuff, outdoor stuff. This, though, this is awesome. And it's such a little thing. They've just made the stained glass windows more vibrant. You can see that they've almost got the, yeah, copy-paste stairs. That's where I thought I'd seen them, actually. I don't spend enough time in Desolation. You can see the effect the stained glass windows actually kind of look, even close up, look like stained glass. It's a really cool, really nice effect. And then the fact that they cast these different lights as well is really cool. I mean, there's a couple that they've obviously forgotten to do, but you know, there should be a massive one here, surely. But hey, it's okay. Maybe there's something on the other side that's obstructing the sunlight, and I don't know about it yet. But yeah, it all looks really good. And yeah, I thought I'd seen. They do look very familiar to the stairwells in Desolation, which, yeah, again, I don't think the stairs in Desolation suited Desolation. They also seem to, like, from the top, when you're walking up, these look okay, but then when you are walking down them, they look a bit, I don't know, I don't get that. Like, walking up them, obviously your face is closer to them, so you can see all the patina and all the detail on the, I don't know, I suppose marble kind of thing. But then when you're walking down them, they all look blank because you're too far away until you get, like, almost really close and on top of them. So, yeah, I know, right? They must have got a job. Superbright must have got, like, a job lot deal. And it was like, oh, well, you know, if you have the rooms of Purgatory tiled with mosaics, we'll throw in the corridors for free, or we'll give you we'll give you half off all the corridors and all the outdoor wall-ins. And Superbright were like, yep, costs are up, we'll take that deal. So I was kind of hoping that one didn't have light coming out of it because of the back effects, but as you can tell from here, that's not the case. There's light coming into that one. There's no light going into that one. Both of these are on. That one's off. So, but again, it doesn't really matter too much. You know, you could say that the light's glinting in from bloody anywhere, couldn't you? Now, the thing that I do like we've actually got something that resembles proper lighting again indoors. So it is a bit dark and dingy in places, but the indoor things look quite well lit. Oh, look, that's where the floor ended up. They put the floor on the ceiling. So let's see. Oh, let's not get in there. Can't remember if... No, so the colours don't show up on them, but they are dynamically lit. I don't think they do. No. Again, it's all nice. All the enemies are now shadowed as well. Not like proper and dynamically. They just have a small bit of shadowing underneath them to kind of trick the eye, which is good. All adds. All adds. One of the things that I didn't check, actually, is if any of the effects... I know I haven't seen any massive changes in the effects of the arrows. That's something that I think that they should spend some time doing on, because, you know, I like using an arrow that looks good. You know, if it's got really cool particle effects or really good effects, like, you know, Wrath of God should look amazing in this update. Divine Sight should be all like sparkly trailed. You know, Winter's Bite, and, you know, if there's like a little bit of patina of frost flying through the air as it's going, that would be awesome. So, as you can see from what we're doing so far, now, the level has been improved. Here is my first gripe. The level has been improved to the point where it's making the enemies not actually look anywhere near as good anymore. I always used to think it was the other way around. The level was serviceable, the enemies looked fantastic, especially if we all remember when they did the update to Monks, Knights. It was Monks, Knights, Banshees... Monks, Knights, Banshees... Cupids, I think, got a little bit of love as well. And I've always maintained that they missed out on the main enemy that could have done with a little bit of a touch-up, which was the Ghost. Because ghosts are like the scary thing within the game. And yeah, I know you only see them guarding the pits, but the thing is, the Ghost is one of the few enemies that is always in, providing you have pits unlocked, in every single level. Oh, actually, no, not in Paradise Lost, are they? In almost every single level, and there's loads of them in the pits as well. But it all looks really nice, but things are starting to look a little bit out of place. Now, here's something that I found as well. If we dodge out of the way of this guy. Now, I remember a time when the graphics were low quality enough or low res enough to make it look like this guy's helmet actually had some depth. Now things are so sharp, this looks like a helmet and it looks like the front bit's been painted on, which is a bit... Well, again, they've just started. They're just getting to grips with things. So I don't think the models look too bad, but I think they need a little bit, like, and it's on every night as well. The front, like, yeah, it doesn't look like it has any depth anymore. The monks have always looked like they are actually hooded and there's actually, well, nobody in there or potentially somebody in there. Is there anyone in there? Well, no, but you can see that there's depth to that, and it used to be the case with knights and they've kind of lost it now. So the other one, the flags aren't looking particularly good anymore. As far as the wall, I don't think much has changed on the walls, except this same kind of overlay that the glass has got, which looks nice, is also, it's almost like they've greased up the walls a little bit, maybe. And it looks all right, but some of the structures, some of the textures, some of them are starting to look a little bit old. Like, for instance, look at all of this. Look at all of this. Oh, I can't get into a good position. But now look at this. You know? So, as I said, I get the impression that this is, this is what they've got through so far, and I'm assuming that they're going to add a hell of a lot more. But this does feel like it's been, like, rushed out a little bit. There was a time, like, even when you got close to these, that they were kind of serviceable. But because everything has been upscaled, they're looking very blocky. So these need changing. Even like the gargoyle faces. Now again, I know these are background things. You're not supposed to be looking too closely. Background doesn't matter too much. Hellsweeper suffers from that. The game looks great as far as the enemies are concerned, but the environment looks a bit rubbish. See, that is fine, Cynthia, but as far as I'm concerned, they're doing this to sell more copies of the game. They're not doing it as like a reward for us. They're bringing it into line with everything else. So if they want to be selling more copies of the game, we need both. We need new content for new and existing players. We also need these sorts of upgrades and uplifts as well. I hope these don't look like load-bearing pillars, unfortunately. So yeah, like for instance, you can like see the cuts are quite bad on these flags as well. And so yeah, everything at like, I suppose the cut and thrust of it is everything at eye level is looking good, but it's when you start looking a little bit closer and a little bit higher that because they've made the floor look so good, everything else looks a little bit bad now. And I think part and parcel of the reason, again, as Travis has said, and I agree, is I think they've gone for the wrong thing. I would have much rather we kept the cobblestone, but just higher detail, and then the odd cobblestone mosaic. I've never really... Like, this sort of flooring, but fancier, is what I would have expected in Paradise Lost. Not here. This seems too much, too nice, too clean for the guys in Purgatory. It is more for the ambience, but... Weebs, if you're going to do a job, you got to do it right? Like, let's think. Red Matter and Half-Life Alyx was, all of these, like, Game of the Year contenders, these ones. I mean, bear in mind this one has been out for a long time, but it's the little things in VR games because of the fact that you can pretty much go right up to anything. Like, for me, now that the floor's been done the way that it's done, the enemies almost look a little bit... They used to work with the environment. Now they look a bit painted on. So, I still think the abominations need some work. The knights need bringing up as well. Basically, all the character models, with particular emphasis on skeletons, incubi, and ghosts. So... But yeah, it's like you say background ambience, and you're quite right, Weebs. But like, for instance, the torches don't look too bad. But that's more to do with the effects. Yes. Yeah, it does feel a little bit out of place. Well, that's the thing. We're Purgatory, aren't we? We're in Purgatory, so there's, there is artistic license. No, it's like... Yeah, it's like they've had the decorators in. Let's see, can we... Have they taken that out? No! Superbright, why you take things away? Oh no! Superbright, what you done? Oh, you used to be able to get in those rafters and they've taken all the fun away. Well, I suppose that's one way to get rid of the glitch that allowed you to teleport from... Oh, you still can. Ah, dear. Ah, well. I am finding that because enemies are clearer at distance, accuracy, or maybe it's something to do with the fact that things have been brought up a level or two. But yeah, oh, they got rid of... I used to like being able to at least go up there. But yeah, the thing is, I am with you on this, but like... And I'm with Weeble on this as well, and it's only background ambience. But let's say, for instance, you come in over here and you grab that, and then there's another one in the corner here, and you use your shard to light up the area. Oh, isn't this all amazing? Oh. Little things like that. And it's all very easy. Like, this is what I'm liking, is that the lighting that comes off of arrows... be they teleport arrows and the shard, because they've toned down the lighting a little bit. Like, we don't walk into any rooms now that are fantastically lit for no reason. The lighting in the game feels a little bit more believable now, and some of the enemies actually benefit from that. Brown monks have gone back to being stealth archers in the corner. I like that. I think that's good. Try and find one. I mean, I have the brightness turned down on my headset, as I think I've mentioned before. But I like the darkness and the dinginess. Well, yeah. Oh, you haven't been to House Moving Castle? Oh, Weeps, you need to take a visit, mate. You're in for a treat. Like, all this is lovely. All of the lighting effects that we've got here. And it also, like, they improved the game. They improved the game for the whole lighting side of things not so long ago. And the work that was put in then is only now starting to come to the fore. The lighting's actually getting quite good on this game. Like, that needs sorting out. Way too textured. Ghosts... should look... I mean, you know, we all know ghosts. They're all pretty... they're already quite menacing. But there is the one thing that I do think that they've got wrong here a little, and I think, again... Hello, Bug. I think it's to do with the fact that because everything's been buffed up, except the enemies, the lighting looks good on the level, but it doesn't look... The higher levels of light don't look quite right or natural on enemies up close. Brown monks aren't too bad because they're already quite dark. So, but like for instance, you know, I mean, I get that it's a floating rock and floating rocks aren't real, but we've got to sort out those jaggies, right? That can't take that much time or effort. But I don't know, I look at other games as well, and I'm glad that they're upgrading this one and bringing it up. But if you can do it, you know, do it good. Please. So, yeah. So I'm the same as a lot of people in that I don't think the stairs look right. I don't think this suits the level. As I said, looking at Desolation... I didn't think the upstairs and the downstairs matched. Now, that was their vision as far as the artwork is concerned. And I was basically like, the upstairs and the downstairs need to be, like, you know, if it's upstairs is desolate and it's called Desolation, then underneath should be like desolate crypts as well. And then what that leaves you open for is designing, like, reskinning the old pits with the downstairs textures from Desolation. I thought that would have been quite good. So, and make Desolation a proper creepy place to play. So, what other thoughts did I have? So, what we've seen so far, that is pretty much it. That's everything that there is going. Because Paradise Lost has not had this treatment. And ooh, that was a bit wild. Paradise Lost hasn't had any of these tweaks yet. I don't think they'll actually have to do a lot with Paradise Lost to bring it up. Can't remember who was saying in the chat, but in the In Death Unchained Facebook group, but I agree that you just need to do, I think it might have been Cynthia or maybe Alyssa, can't remember, but I think it was that, you know, they just, or it might have even been Fee actually on the Discord, but they definitely need to add this side of things. Oh, I've got Presentiment of Death. I really enjoy that game actually. I love the music. If they can add all of this sort of effect to all of the bits and pieces that are already in Paradise Lost, happy days. Like, so I suppose here's my... No, everything... The boss has not even been touched. The castle hasn't actually been touched either, I don't think. I think all the flooring in there is still the same. We'll go and have a look in a minute. I can't remember. So, is it Pinions? Penance? Pignon? I can't remember. They've been... Well, I don't remember there being quite so many. But they're a bit plain. If they're going to put these sort of like moving details in, there should be a little bit of detail to them, I think. But yeah, a bit plain. So... But it's you know, it's a great start. It's looking good. It's looking good for a game that, you know, some of us have had for like 2-3 years, and they're adding new stuff for free. So, you know, you can't complain. I mean, I can. But the thing is, for me, like, you know, if you're going to do this, do it right. Because you can do it wrong, and it'll be like not worth doing it at all. Like, for instance, when they upgraded, as I was saying previously, the monks, the knights, the knight model, the monk model. I think they did a little work on the abominations as well. And a couple of others. But they left some... Oh, alright, fine, I'll have it. They left some out. What? Oh, that's what I thought. That's what I thought, Wib. Wib? Weebs. Oh, no, they are. No, the thing is... So the one thing that I will say is a good point. The one thing that I will say is this is just the start. This is just what they've got so far. Now, I've got... That's good and bad. Because as I understand it... I mean, you know, I might be wrong here. I don't have insider knowledge on this. They don't really speak to us anymore like that. And even if I did, I wouldn't be able to tell you anyway, but I can tell you when I have and when I haven't, and I haven't. Is that, as I understand it, the Superbright team have been working on this for a good couple of months. Now, I don't know, or, you know, like 2-3 months. I don't know how many people that means, because we're constantly being told that Superbright are doing other weird and wonderful things, yet they never tell us what they are. It's not in Death Unchained 2. As I understand it. So, is it like taking 2 or 3 months for one guy to do all of this? Is that how many they've got left, or is it a team? And if that is the case, if it is the whole team, well then it's not a lot of progress for the amount of time that they've had. And if it is only one guy, well, give that guy a raise first and foremost. And but yeah, my overall feeling with this is they've tried to make the front end of the game as presentable as possible for Christmas, basically. And this feels like, oh, well, we could, like, if it was me, I would much rather them hold off for another 3 to 6 months and do the lot, or at least put enough people on it to do the lot. Because we've seen a lot of games upgrade to Quest 3 status very quickly for free. And yeah, communication is definitely a problem. But then, like, the easy, like, for me, if they wanted to improve this game, just give some love to all the special arrows. You know, I'm sure they can make these effects a little bit better. I'm sure they can make the effects of the arrows a little bit better. Hell, make Unholy Wind actually useful and do more things. Or at least make Unholy Wind look amazing, but still do what it does, i.e. nothing. So, we did go past a pit. Now, there is probably, I mean, we'll spend a little bit of time in the pits, but there is no real reason because they haven't done anything in the pits. But yeah, so what this feels like to me, did they do the shops? I don't think they did the shops. Oh, they did. We got the shop tiled, so that's nice. Explosions still look the same. We have got a pestilence, haven't we? Yeah, pestilence is still a bit underwhelming. Couple of little puffs of green. I know it's not a great arrow, and I know, you know, you don't really use it outside of, well, cycle 1, really, even when it's powered up. But, I don't know, I feel we can do better than a little couple of puffs of green. I'm sure these, like, it does look better, but I think we can do a little bit better than a couple of puffs, you know? Like, I'd love that to have more of an icicle effect behind it as it's flying, because Winter's Bite. And the other thing as well is maybe just concentrate on the arrows that are the big part of the meta. Hand of God, Winter's Bite, Cataclysm, and the volley arrows. But then you don't even need to do anything on the volley arrows. Oh yeah, we were going to have a look at the pit, weren't we? Pit, 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 pit. Yeah. Yeah. There's... I don't know. I look at the work that some of the other... Okay, so... The thing that we have here... Oh, let me just do a battery check a second. God, that died fast. Ooh. Ooh, now I think that battery was full. Okay, here's a bit of a test as well then. Are we now looking at a time when 97% and my battery hasn't gone? So this could be one of the knock-on effects, as is with these things. When you start increasing performance on things, you also increase battery usage as well. Now, I know a lot of you have had problems with the Quest 3 battery and how bad it actually shows or actually indicates when you're on low battery or not, so that could become even more of a problem. So I would say at this point, if you've got the Quest 3 and you've got the update, when you get that 15% update, okay. I mean, I've got the brightness down as well, so I don't know. I just seem to well, it wasn't fully. How long have we even been streaming? I suppose we have been streaming 45 minutes, but I wouldn't expect, I don't know, I wouldn't have expected my Bobo battery to be dead by then and to have lost a couple of percent from the actual headset battery. So, don't know. Don't know, but it is a possibility. One of the things that I would say, because you can have problems otherwise, is when you start getting to the 15% is the time to go to Sanctuary and save. When you get the 15% warning, do not do the 5% warning. So, like, here's little things that they can change, because they've now got the ability to change these and round them up a little bit, so it doesn't look like hexagon candles. Yeah, see, I thought it might just been that the battery was at maybe 3 when I thought it was full, 3 dots when it was fully charged. So maybe it's that. I've just put a fresh one in now. So starting from now and go. So if we can get an hour and a half without me having to change battery, then we could be okay. So as I said, they haven't changed these dynamic light effects in the game as well, and I'm getting it out of the shard, which is quite a cool use of the shard, being able to light up the dungeon. These have actually been in the game, these dynamic lighting effects, as opposed to being baked into the textures, have been in the game for quite some time. However, we haven't really seen the benefits of it. Like, for instance, I think at a distance, the lava is starting to look better as well. Previously, it used to be a bit of just a big blob, but I think one of the level of detail upgrades that they've done has actually improved the lava, which is nice. And again, I'm finding that like the levels of lighting in the pits, especially like when that brown monk teleported down there, he was actually quite difficult to see. I don't know how it's showing up in the stream, but he was quite difficult to see. I like that. I like that. Right, should we cause some trouble? Have we got any arrows to cause some trouble? No, not really. So, yeah, incubi, ghosts, skeletons of both descriptions. Specifically, skeleton warriors if they have to do a choice of which one comes first. Because skeleton warriors are the ones that teleport into your face. And so they're the ones that need the love first. Because they're model. Look at that. That's black. I can't even see him. And now we can because of my little familiar going over there. So yeah, that is a nice thing about it, is I think that it's... Because the game used to be this way as well until they started messing around with the lighting. It used to be that, especially at higher cycles, you didn't check your corners. Brown monks could just be sat there waiting for you. And it was brilliant. I used to like it. However, when it comes to this game, I have been known to be a bit of a masochist. So, again, steady. Take my armor off me this early in the game. The mist of the pit, I don't think it's really been reduced as much, in that it's just a lot clearer now. I mean, maybe it's been reduced a little bit and cleared up, but we'll do some testing on that in a minute. Because there's also an element of shadowing as well. Because this is something that, as far as Quest 3 is concerned, could potentially improve your game. Because I would have said previously, maybe not there. Maybe not there. One of the other things that I did note as well is the draw distance, i.e. the distance that enemies disappear in, seems to have maybe got a touch further out. I'll show that when we get to Anarchist's Fortress as well. So the rule of 17 is still in effect, in that there can only be, if there are more enemies around you than 17, they can only be 17 in existence, and the other ones would teleport in. I didn't expect that to change, because that is, as well as a design... No, sorry, as well as being something to take advantage of, utilize what power the quest has, or the quest 1 and 2 had, or standalone had. I think it's also a gameplay decision as well, because that rule, oh, there goes the armor, that rule is still in death as well. If I remember rightly, we tested that out. You can't have more than like 17 enemies around you still. So as I said, it's a kind of hard and fast coded thing, but has worked out quite well for standalone users. Because, you know, if you had it so that the 30 enemies around you could be spawned in, this game would be like chugging along, because it wouldn't be able to handle it. So I didn't expect that to happen. Or I didn't expect that rule to be changed, because I think it's a fundamental mechanic within the game. Where's he going? And he's going there sideways. Oh, you're an orphan. Yeah, that's to be expected to begin with as well, because as they are changing things within the game as far as boosting textures are concerned, it will also have a ripple of effect of creating holes, I would imagine. I'm no coder. I mean, I've done a little bit of coding, but nowhere near game level. Oh, we wanted to make use of you, actually. Hold still. Thank you. But yeah, that's something that I've seen in other games. As the graphics increase, like, it almost creates holes. And so they're just like little visual things that enemies are then able to fire through and you're not. There is even still some in the quest too. Right, what we're going to try... I mean, I think everybody remembers me in Outrage getting shot through the wall when I was doing a purist run a couple of seasons back in Anakin's fortressy top bit. So let's just test one thing here. I think we should be able to. Now, that for me is already good. You remember what I was saying again about the clearness, and it's not just the pancake lenses, but now the power is being sorted out as well. Between the legs. Now, that is a very difficult shot, but at least I feel like I can see the outline of him a lot better at that sort of distance, and those shots are worth a hell of a lot of points. So being able to make them out better when you are shooting things at maximum distance is nice. Let's see where he's going to go first. You're going to go to there. Let's have another look. Yeah, you can still get up on them. Yeah, so he looks a lot clearer when there's a little bit of lighting around him at a distance. Let's go a little bit further back. And he's still looking a lot clearer than he used to. Don't even think... Oh, you can. You can play around, aren't you? Gonna play around. So, but yeah, that's always nice. So this is something more for your higher cycle players is, you know, killing incubi, trying to get headshots. Ugh! Missed them all. Trying to get headshots at that distance. That will be easier to see where your arrows are landing in. Normally you wouldn't be able to see your arrows going that far, and you definitely wouldn't be able to see the enemy that far away as well. So that's good. So I like that side of things on the lighting seems good. At a distance, you're able to make out the silhouettes and the outlines a lot better, which just basically assists us in that long-range shooting, which, just in case you didn't know, that's how you score the big points. So, again, as I said, the lava looks great from afar, but it still looks a bit like, at about this range, that lava is probably some of the better lava that I've seen in VR games, but then when you get to very close, you can see that it's still lacking a little bit of detail when you're up close. But again, how much these things matter, I don't know. But if you're going to improve the graphics of the game and not improve the things that look rubbish, you're running a little bit of a risk, I think, of making the game look worse than it was. Yeah, ghost models I want to see brought across. Definitely. And yeah, the fireballs. Agreed on the fireballs. They burn the retinas. They can burn your bloody eyeballs out of your skull, the fireballs on the original In Death. So, which again is something that I do need to do. I need to get onto the whole Steam VR side of things. See if that's any better for me and my setup. But then again, I'm nowhere near an authority, but I like kind of being a little bit more purist on the whole standalone side of things. If I don't go PC VR, then I don't know what I'm missing out on. And like, you know, then like I played Asgard's Wrath 2 recently. Wow, that's one hell of a game. It's not all because of the graphics as well. It's just what they're doing in VR and like the detail and the set pieces and the scenarios that they're creating are just as important as the fact that the game does look good. So yeah. Overall, Purgatory is getting there. I like the colour. I'm not a big fan of the flooring. I'm loving what they're doing with the lighting. Like, you know, I think the flooring we would get used to, I think they need to make a decision at this point. They either need to change the wall textures or they need to change the floor to something else. But then if they change the floor, they've got to change the wall textures as well. So if they changed this to much cleaner, much nicer looking stonework, I don't know. I don't think it would feel like Purgatory anymore, is the problem. So hopefully, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they do. And they also need to change. Yeah, this is all part and parcel of it as well. These banistery bits and railings. Right, so let's try and show off a little bit of what I was talking about as far as draw distance is concerned. And then we'll go and have a look at Anakin. So yeah, like these textures, they can do better than that. Come on now. You know, it's all of a sudden starting to look, because everything's so clean and clear and ramped up, everything's starting to look a bit blocky. It was never massively noticeable. It was there, but it was never massively noticeable on the Quest 2, as was. But now, with pancake lenses, again, I said exactly the same thing about the Pico. All of these things are starting to become more noticeable. The good is even better. The bad is even worse. So, but yeah, no, if we look at the flooring here, I will do in just a moment. No changes on the flooring here. Like, I don't know about you guys. Like, this is the flooring that, or is that? No, that is the flooring. This is the flooring that I remember. They've got two ways that they can go with it. Keep this same flooring, but clean it up. Like, not to a stupid amount. Or keep this flooring and add some dirtiness to it, which will then, I think, will really help pick out the details. If anything, this flooring now looks too bright for the rest of this. And this jaggedness. I'm sure they don't have to do too much to smooth these things out. But again, not game dev, so can't really talk about it too much. But then, you know, some of you might be thinking like, well, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? You know, they're trying their best. It's like, yeah, well, you know, if they do well, it converts. If you're doing well with it, it converts into sales, and then that's time well spent, isn't it? So, you know, and if they're not doing it for that, what are they doing it for? As far as Black Knights are concerned, I haven't found it any different. I mean, I'll be honest with you, if anything, they're going down in less for me, because I'm finding that since I got the Quest 3, and since we've had, I mean, you know, pancake lenses with this, and now this update as well, I think my range, my comfortable range, will be extended a little bit. I know, right? I'm going to get a little bit more accurate. What? No. So here's what I wanted to show off. This is something that I'm going to have to go back and double check on some of my other videos. Yeah, I'm sure that was correct. I'm sure that was correct. I'll try again on another Black Knight. It should be... I mean, it does depend on the ranges fee. A Black Knight in Cycle 1 has 1,000 HP. So it should be 3 headshots for a Black Knight. And then if you were at sort of that mid-distance where you're doing 700 damage, it'd be 2. So that's inconceivable range, if I remember rightly. That's... you got... in fact, yeah. I'm going to have a good stare at that. Hang on, can I face my computer whilst I do it? Possibly. I'm going to have a good stare at that. I don't know. You guys might actually be able to make out the knight in the distance now. And previously, I would be in a stream, be shooting at that. And I don't even think on, like, I'll tell you when he gets in as well. That'd be a good test. When he's sat watching these streams on his 4K TV. Like, you know, I don't even know if he would see him, but I can see that red knight quite clearly, and I can see his colour as well. So, now normally, when you get to about here, I think, that knight should have despawned. And also, because of the mist, I wouldn't even, he might be there, but I wouldn't be able to even see him. I wouldn't even be able to see what I'm shooting at. I definitely wouldn't be able to pick out the detail of the arrow to see how far off the headshot I am. So what I'm getting at here is this should make long distance, like silly long distance range headshots, easier to achieve because you've got more data. You know, I can see that that arrow is high and right, but not by much. Oh, look at this. Shit! I can't even test. But what I was going to show off is I think you can get to about here, and that knight would still be spawned, and then normally, in fact, he might have despawned at about here, and then if you got further back, he would disappear entirely. So yeah, I think the distance at which enemies can render has now been improved. Probably not by a lot, and I could potentially be imagining it, but definitely the visibility over distance has been improved dramatically. And that's good because long distance, long range headshots is how we score in this game. So let's see if I can get a knight upstairs. This might take a bit of doing though. Should be one in here. You'll do. Definitely found that my accuracy has improved on the Quest 3. About the same rate as my accuracy improved when I got the when I started getting used to, because it was different, getting used to the Pico side of things. And I do think that that's part and parcel, not just to do with tracking, but also to do with the clarity of things. But I do find the tracking, I'm finding personally that the tracking overall, not in all situations, but overall is superior on the Quest 3. But again, I do all of the little caveats. Again, I'm going into this because I've heard people saying like, oh, you know, I've heard that the Quest 3 tracking's bad. It's not. The Quest 3 tracking is good. But you need to make sure that you are putting 1.5 volt batteries in your controllers, turning your controller frequency from auto to either fixed at 60 or fixed at 50 hertz, depending on your country, the environment that you're in. Usually 60 hertz is better than 50, but I know there's certain countries where it's the other way around. Like 60 hertz is quite a frequently used frequency and 50 hertz isn't. These make differences. Mirrors, polished surfaces, glass, all of this within your play environment can have an effect as well. What have we covered? Oh, watches. Watches on your wrist. It's still another little mirrored surface, and it won't have a massive effect, but I used to find that having a watch on Rogue Ascent, when I was playing that, used to throw my left controller out something rotten. I don't wear watches when doing VR anymore, which is a bit unfortunate because I know people like to wear Fitbits, but it's a reflective surface and it's right where the cameras are taking detail. Again, it's a little thing. I don't know if it has a massive effect. I've noticed it with slightly bigger face watches. But yeah, I would go as far as to say that I think that guy should have despawned probably by about now. There he goes. Just disappeared there at this point. So I don't think they've... I think normally you'd be able to see him from here, but as soon as you took a step off these stairs, he'd go. And then now he disappears. The fact that I can even see him still? There. So, I don't know, maybe they've added an extra, what's that, 5 meters on the rendering distance? Again, it's all level of detail stuff. It's probably not things that they've done purposely. It's just happened when they've, you know, pushed bars up and increased settings. Anyway, thanks for the demo, dude. Time to go. Bye-bye. So, what else? Let's go and have a look at old Annie Bob's, shall we? So again, these textures now are really starting to look dated. This doesn't look too bad. The kind of, that's almost like a Cornish slate, Cornish cobbly wall sort of thing. We like that. And you can actually make out some kind of like, well, it's not a fleur-de-lis, but you can see some sort of imprint on these stones now. I haven't looked, if I'm honest with you, but I have looked in these rooms before. I've never seen that level of detail, so that's probably always been here, but been blurred out because of it. In fact, these are looking particularly good. That's a really good texture, but that's the one that's always been in, so that one's hold up really well. This one, on the other hand, not so much. But again, it's just because of the level of detail and the angles now. Everything looks a lot sharper, and it's because everything does look a lot sharper for us through the Quest 3 headset. So, like for instance, yeah, so effects like that worked previously, weren't really noticeable, added a little touch of ambience to the game. Now they're getting to the point where in the dark, they're not really too bad, but in the light, yeah, they need to be sorted. These bits do. This bit's fine. The pillars need to be upgraded a little bit as well. And these have the pillars and this particular banister have needed some love for a very long time. So yeah, that needs doing. Hey! Good. Glad to see that they didn't get rid of the janky ragdoll physics every now and again. That's always nice to see. Do enjoy that about this game. Never lose it super bright, please. Like, that now is looking too light. And then, yeah, so these are the things. So this is kind of my overall thoughts about all of this, is what they were once able to kind of get away with because they've upgraded everything now. It now looks quite jarring when you pay attention to it. This wouldn't be the first time that I've gone around and kind of paid attention to the game. And previously you could get away with it because of the level of sharpness, the level of filters, and so on. Now, these are all things that need those little bumps, I feel. But again, how much work are we actually asking them to do? Would we prefer would we prefer new content? Yeah, damn right we would. But it's kind of been alluded to that we're not getting anything new. But I didn't even think they were going to improve on what they had. So note how Anakin's lair hasn't been changed. Now, there are a couple of things that I would love to see brought over. I should have showed it off previously. There are a couple of things that I would love to see brought over from the previous game, from In Death. There is an effect where the sun gets eclipsed as you are walking the path to Anakin's castle. Or Anakin's fortress. That would be fantastic. If you want to see that, go and check my In Death stream. Hello, Ken. Yeah, I know, right? Hey, at least they gave us trigger for arrow pulls on DOE now, so you know, that helps things big. Do you know what though? Even though I asked for trigger to pull arrows, I'm still finding myself defaulting to grip to pull crossbow bolts, and I really like that. I think that's great. So yeah, no, it took us a while, but we got there in the end. And I like the way they've implemented it as well. You can do either or. It's not even a choice. I think it's really good. Yeah, I think no. So the one thing that I want in Anakin's lair, because the mist is still, and I mean, you can see the detail and the outline of Anakin a lot better now because of the Quest 3 overall improvements. But one of the effects that is in the old Anakin's lair on the original In Death is almost like a mist at ground level. You know, you kind of get in graveyards in films. That, like, what is it? Dry ice. That kind of like dry ice, low-hanging mist effect. They don't even need to change the flooring if they put that in quite thick. But it'd be nice for them to, you know, update this a little bit. Like, you know, there's other things that would need changing as well. Like, that's not going to cut it anymore, really, is it? There was a time when you used to be able to go in there as well. But yeah, this isn't going to cut it anymore. These need to be changed. But they're all... It's quite angular, so the angles need taken out of it. And then the texture levels and detail needs increasing. That's it, done. again, I don't know if these are big things or not. I do wonder... Hello, Radius. I don't know if they would actually be able to implement the statues from the original In Death into this game now. Part of the reason, because it's the only reason that I can think of, that the statues that were in these alcoves weren't in this game is because it possibly took too much processing power. Because although they're statues, they're almost like frozen in place monks, so they would add to the processing power. The bright sides, the bright to gloom would be absolutely awesome. Let's just do these proper a second. Not that we need to. So I do want to actually have a look at the white monks as well. Keep one of those. This is one of the places that you, or one of the few places. Like, look at the level of detail on the white monks. You can, like, even now you can see that they're actually not quite as pristine as everybody thought. These old white monks are a little bit threadbare, as I see it now. That little rip there, little rip there. You need to have a word with your seamstress, mate. These are really bad repairs. You've been doing them yourself, haven't you? That's the problem. That's the problem. But again, being able to... So this is what I'm talking about, is that some of the models that they've done, they went to such a level of detail that they are holding up very nicely with all of the graphical power and upgrades that we have now. But unfortunately, some aren't. Like, the stairs from Desolation would have suited this stairwell a lot better than they do outside. But, like, you know, come on. Have a word with, Camille. He's a top player of IDU. He's actually a stair, I think, maker and designer, stairway maker and designer in real life. If you want to go and get some stairs for IDU, talk to Cam. He'll sort you out. He'll tell you what looks good and what doesn't. So, because that's his job, as well as being a maniac on the crossbow. So, like, if Holy Light looked awesome. Now, again, look at this. Because of how sharp things are now, this doesn't look like an area of effect. It looks like a halo on the floor. That's like ridiculously sharp. It still looks okay, but it's so sharp now along the edges. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, the effect looks actually quite good, probably one of the better effects in the game, but that sharpness needs to be improved, or needs to be moved further in and then faded correctly. But again, these are all the little things when you know, they're going to require time and barely be noticed. But the thing is, if Superbright didn't want that, then they shouldn't have started doing all of this, and they should have just started working on In Death Unchained 2, and we all would have been very grateful. However, I'm kind of the impressions of, well, come on now, Superbright, you've shown us that you're willing to do, you're not going to add anything new, but you're going to tone up and sort everything out. So, you know, do a good job. So, Paradise Lost has not had any love to it. So we just have the existing things from the game in here, but then still the draw distance has been improved. We can actually see that there is an archer and a banshee in that little balcony there. The mist, I thought the mist looked like the mist is still as far, so I don't think the mist has actually been improved or moved. Or maybe it has a little bit. It's just everything within it looks just that little bit better and that little bit sharper. Like, they don't need to change this flooring. I think the flooring, this sort of white, we need to get, like, it's really bright out here. Bloody hell. Getting snow blinded here, chat. Jesus. I hate this wall. There we go. That's a bit better. Oh, still got those on. Oh, have we got the bugged version? Yes, we have. 1,660 points for a headshot at close range. Only in the bugged version of Holy Light, because normally we're doing 418, so that's almost 4 times the damage. Yeah, no, that is a thing. That is a thing. Oh, see, that is actually a very good point. That is a very good point in regards to Asgard's Wrath Momenty. What's their excuses now, then? Why can't we have Runner and Mortal and Purist and Fletcher? What's the excuses now? Because they could have said previously, oh yeah, if we have to improve if we do add more to the game, we haven't got the space to do it and it'll be too big. Like, I think it might be as much to do with they've only got so much memory that they can play with in the architecture of the game. But if things have improved, maybe that has improved too. Long story short, bring back Runner. I don't care if you get rid of one of the others, just not Fletcher. Bring back Runner. It should be Runner, Fletcher, Mortal, I reckon. I still don't think we need a Purist. I never did. I like Purist. It's all right. But you can play Purist yourself. You can be a Purist. I know people have. Mr. Holland was a Purist before Purist was cool. You know, now he doesn't do it anymore because it's not cool. Because there's a mode for it. So, these need the effects that are in Paradise. Purgatory. I thought I just saw something then. That is looking better, you know. The particle effects, again, they're just clearer. You can just see them better. I think one of the things I didn't find... Yeah. I didn't find the explosions looked any better. I think they could do better on the explosions. Have them maybe stick around a little bit longer and be a little bit more detailed. A lot of players, when they're first starting the game, Cataclysm is a very good arrow for them to begin with. Can see like the wood patina on the arrows now as well, but the fletching leaves a little bit to be desired. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Wanted to see the effects of these ones because I haven't tried Azure's yet. Like, that needs improving. They could do a fantastic looking fucking lightning effect. And whilst they're at it, they could sort that arrow out as well. Part of the problem that arrow has is it doesn't always activate its jumps every time you fire it. You have to give it gaps between firing, and even then sometimes it doesn't activate its additional 3 to 5 hits depending on how high a level you have it. Part of the reason I know this is because it was already an okay arrow to get within the tournament just gone, but if after every single hit it did the 5 bounces of, like it just did there, of enemies in close range, it probably would have been if it did that every time you hit an enemy, it probably would have been the tournament winning arrow, I think. Because you could aim for headshots and then kill 5 others. Let me see if I can, I mean, maybe the performance has sorted it out, but if I fire at him, and you, and you, and you, everything around me at this point probably, actually, you know what? That seems like... Because I always did think that Azure's Wrath didn't work. Azure... What was it called again? Azure's Fury? Azure's Wrath? One of the two. I've always maintained that it's actually not that bad an arrow. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it does do one thing that a lot of other arrows, a lot of other special arrows, secondaries is Fury, isn't it? Yeah. Wrath of God is it? Oh, you little shitbag. But yeah, if the effect went off every time and chained through every enemy every time, it would actually be an even better arrow than it is already. One of the good things about Azure's Fury, it's not an amazing arrow, don't get me wrong, and it's one of those ones that you ditch after you get, well, competent at the game or anything, but one of the things that it does do that I don't think a lot of people take into consideration is all those little lightning bounces that it does. When it hits the enemies with those, it stuns them. There's not a lot of arrows in this game that stun with their additional effects. Lightning Ball, they don't stun, they just do damage. Wrath of God, when it's doing its damage flying through the air, doesn't stun enemies, just does damage. No, I don't think. Did you actually have DS5 unlocked? There you go. Because if you didn't, it's one of the things that I was asked over on the Pico leaderboards. And, well, hello, Divine Sight 5. So, God, I could have done with you earlier. Jeez. I saw a reasonable amount, I think. That was rubbish. No, because I didn't pick up a single Divine Sight 5. Yeah, we did. I didn't see a single Divine Sight times 5 on the Pico version until I unlocked them. Because I actually made a point of going and unlocking it to find out. Because I said at the start of the tournament, that I think Superbright have nailed it this time. My mistake was I checked across two profiles. One was pretty much complete with everything, and the other one was 100%. So that was kind of my bad, saying like, yep, nice one, Superbright, they've nailed it. No, it has. The last tournament had all the same problems as the previous tournament, the Abyss Trials. So, what do we take away from that? One, get to 100%. There's another reason for tournament time. Do you want to be short of anything? Do you want people to have an advantage over you by not having a 100% completed profile? No, get out there and do it. The other thing as well is, I did see a lot of people go like, oh, I haven't got such and such arrow unlocked, so if only I did have that arrow, I'd be finishing in the top 10 as well. No, mate, sorry, you wouldn't. Fact of the matter is, if you haven't got a 100% completed profile, then these arrows that you are thinking will do all of the work for you. I know the likes of me and Michael make it look that way, but it takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of understanding of those arrows as well. It's one of the things that I still maintain to this day, is that part of the reason why... Because I think I was the one that originally twigged that Divine Sight times 3 and 5 was the arrow to use in most of these tournaments, and it was because of trying to hit headshots with them. Yeah, it's not an easy achievement to get. Well, but then that's it. Yeah, exactly. But there's people that are like, oh, I'm in the top 50 now. If only I had the same arrows as the guys in the top 10, I'd easily be there, sort of thing. I mean, you know, the statements weren't quite that harsh, but let's pretend they were, just for a bit of drama. And quick lesson for anybody as well. Wrath of God. If you are using it like that, you're doing it wrong. That's not how you should be using Wrath of God. Wrath of God should be used like that, making it arc up and over within a big arena, a big area. If there might be one that I can show off in here, but you want that slow moving arc, and the reason being is Wrath of God, the more hang time Wrath of God has, the more sparks of electricity it does, and so that translates to more damage. Let me see if I can demonstrate. So that was probably too much, should have gone less. We want maximum flight time over short distance. The more flight time it has, the more damage it is capable of inflicting. Again, it's still not a great arrow past, like, I don't know, cycle 2, maybe cycle 3. You're having to then fire multiple off to kill the same amount of enemies. Cycle 1, you can clear entire rooms. Firing it kind of up and over and in a shallow arc that hangs will allow it to do loads of damage and keep it going and keep it a little bit more effective. So, again, with the sharpness. So, yeah, I don't know if you guys are seeing that or not. This part of the level looks clearer. I suppose I was looking at that from all the way back down. So the level is definitely looking clearer through the mist. Definitely. So, like, for instance, the way to use Wrath of God here would not be to fire it from there down here. That would be the safe way. Be to do that. Note how it killed pretty much everything and took a Red Knight down to half health. And nothing survives here anymore. If you'd have fired it like that, you would have done a little bit of damage to most things, especially at higher cycles, but you wouldn't have killed them. Any more? There we go. There we go. Yeah, cycle 6 is a bit much, because Wrath of God, the whole point with your special arrows is you use them as one of two things, because they're the meta and they allow you to stop enemies in place or kill them quickly. And unfortunately, Wrath of God does neither, and that's why it's not a very good arrow at later cycles. It doesn't kill things probably other than that are weak already, like cupids and bats and such. It doesn't kill them quickly, and it doesn't stop them. This is part of the reason why I was saying that Azure's Fury isn't too bad. Hello, Gamertag. It's part of the reason why I was saying that Azure's Fury isn't too bad an arrow, because of the fact that its special effect actually staggers enemies, even though it doesn't do a lot of damage. That staggering stops them moving up on you, stops them shooting at you, stops them doing all the nasty stuff. Have you had a look at this yet, GT? The little update that we've got on everybody's favourite archery game. It looks nice, but they've, well, in my always humble opinion, they've kind of half-assed it a bit to rush it out for Christmas. They've graphically overhauled the game a fair bit, but they've then also done some quite sweeping changes to just the first level, and they're going to do the rest. They're going to do the rest later. So I hope they do get round to it. So, like, for instance, as I was saying, Paradise Lost hasn't actually had any real improvements. Good old hang time. It's just got the overall improvements, but everything is yeah, you and me both. Yeah, I fear. You're not in a situation where you have to cover this game. This is my bread and butter, so I don't really have a choice. An update of this comes out, it'd be silly if I didn't say something about it. But it's looking good. The thing is, GT, you probably don't want to have a look at this again until it's had the full treatment that Superbright are promising. That could be a year off, though. And as I was saying previously, am I? Let's have a quick check of the old Bobo. Okay, so I've used, there is the possibility that some of my batteries might not have been past the 4 bars of charge. Let's have a look at, yeah, see, normally my headset would stay at 100% whilst my Bobo batteries were going. No, it's been improved. I'd say they've improved, they've lifted everything probably by about 30%, but as you'll know, that can make some games that used to look really good actually look a bit worse now. And so there's a lot of textures and jaggies and various bits and pieces and things about the enemy that they need to change now. So, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Look how good we've made the game, but yeah, look how bad you've made some of the things look now as well that you used to get away with because of mist and because of low processing power and so on. Let's get through here, and what we'll do is we'll go and have a quick look at the Abyss. So, like, this is the textbook room, and that's the shot that you want to do. Note how that killed even a red knight, and they've got a lot of HP. Well, kinda. For a cycle 1 enemy. Anyway. So. Is that this one? So yeah, what I think they need to do for Purgatory, for Paradise Lost, they don't need to do a lot. Some detailing, a little bit more detailing on these would be great. A little bit more detailing on the brickwork, make that look pristine, make that look clean as fuck. And then, like, really make the gold stand out on this and make that marble, like, stupid polished would, I think, look really good. And then, of course, they have, look, see, they have improved these. Because these must be a texture or an asset that is used commonly across all the game, except they haven't added the color to these ones. So they've got the improvement, but they haven't got the color or the lighting. So that would actually make me suggest that those ones are a different asset to the other one. Otherwise, technically, you should be able to just change one asset and all the rest of them change. So, yeah. But yeah, that flooring doesn't need to change. It just needs to be hyper detailed and like shiny gold. This area needs to look the levels of pristine that they're trying to do in Purgatory, I think. Let's see what you got for me. Help me get past. So, for anybody who's ever struggled with Gabriel, Tempest. Tempest is the boy for Gabriel when you are in the early stages of taking him on, because Tempest makes him a ridiculously easy kill as long as you go for headshots. I'll have a quick slurp and a smoke and then I'll show you how. I'm sure you all know by now though. So yeah, I think out of all of the levels that haven't had a lift, as it happens, like look at this as well, looking back on the level. Where's the start? Oh, it's all the way back down there, look. Yeah, so only the start is really, really misty. But now, look. Now that we're looking back. Look how jaggedy. Or it almost looks like Paradise Lost, the first stage, has been painted on. Now, that doesn't matter because we've done that and we're not going back. And if we got close enough, so it's deloading textures to allow to do more here. That's fine. That doesn't matter if you're looking back. But, like, you know, mist that over or something so that we can't see it. It used to be misted over so that you couldn't see all of that previously. Because the mist, you couldn't see that far back. It wasn't as clear. So this is what I'm getting at when I say that there are lots of tricks that devs do based on the limitations of the hardware to make the graphics look better when actually they look a bit bad. And, you know, that's ingenuity from developers, you know, making use of what power they have, and all luck to them. But if you're going to do that in a game and then lift everything, you got to remember to improve all of that shit kind of behind the scenes sort of stuff. And it looks like, yeah, Superbright have left quite a lot of that. Like, you know, these pillars aren't too bad. They need to be sorted out as far as the angles are concerned, because even I mean, they're not too bad, but they are looking a little bit jagged. But the detail needs to be higher levels of detail. We should be able to see more of the brickwork and maybe some cracks. But, and the reason why I say that, we don't get, oh right, that's why. The reason why I say that is if we now go up here, like, you know, nobody ever comes up here, but those need improving. Look at these little bits on the corners now as well. That archway actually looks quite good and pristine, going onto assets that just look bloody awful now. And I think this is part and parcel. Oh, I've never seen that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the patterning on that archway, and look at that level of detail. Now look at that. It's like night and day. And it's almost like two different games. They're actually the same game, but yeah, like the ground, the floor, the texture, and the angularness of that down there. That needs to be sorted out as well. Or maybe not down there, but definitely the rest of the level. Anyway, Tempest. How'd you kill Gabriel easy with the Tempest? Aim higher than you think you should. If you're getting 760s and 1000s, then you're doing it right. What are you doing? Oh, there you are. Barely hear you. The benefit of Tempest is as long as you're getting headshots, it does set damage. And look how far over I'm firing over his head to ensure that I get those headshots. And what's that? So I'm starting off with 39. That is 15 Tempest shots. And one of the things with Tempest as well is that will give you full damage headshot. That will give you full damage headshot. And you'll still get the same trajectory and same speed. I don't know if that will get you full score or not, because that's technically a half draw. I've never tested. So maybe that's something, if I remember enough of these things, maybe we'll do a testings stream at some point in the future. Right, so let's go and have a look at all of these bits and pieces. Like, this doesn't look too bad. Looks a bit Tetris-y, but, you know, this doesn't look half bad. Yeah, I've never seen that level, the patterning on here, and I must have been through this area millions of times, and I would notice it, but I haven't previously. And it's not that they've changed it, it's just because they've upped things, you can now see it. So, but yeah, but I've never noticed how ugly these corner pieces are, and so the good looks great, the bad looks terrible now. Like, look at this level of block work. That's the level of detail that we need. This looks good. This top bit, maybe not so much. Ooh! Let's go and have a look up here. This will look bad, I think. Yeah, look at that. This is on top of the little portal that you go through to get to the next one. So these rock textures. Now, I know, again, I'll say it again, because, you know, even I think I might be being a little bit hypercritical. But fact of the matter is, you got two choices. If you're going to improve a game, improve it correctly, improve it right. I know they've only just started. Like, look at this archway. Ugh, God. But then look at this pillar. The sides of it in comparison, brilliant. The end of it, rubbish. The artwork of, like, and look at the tops of the pillars now as well. Look at that. They look really good. Tops of the pillars, great. Actual pillars here, the rounded ones, look great. Stonework on this, fucking garbage. So, again, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh, but if you're going to do a job, do it right. Otherwise, you'll just piss your audience off. And then, in that case, what's the point? And there might be a whole, like, oh, you know, it's being done for free or what have you. Okay, well, don't do it for free and bring his fucking IDU too. God damn it! Stop telling us about the restrictions. Stop telling us about what can and can't be done within the game and what you're struggling with and what you can't. And start working on a game that we'll all buy. All of us. But they're not. So on Abyss, the lighting has always been, I think, quite good on Abyss. This is the level that Superbright actually made, as well as Desolation. Desolation looks fantastic, and it looks a little bit better again on the Quest 3 with the new update. It looks, I think Abyss looks even better now. All of this looks a little bit more menacing because the lighting and the detail is picked out a little bit more. If we get a bit closer, see, look at this. Look at these. So maybe we are suffering from this not so much being Superbright's fault, but it being Solfar's fault from having quite a low level of detail assets that have been handed to Superbright, if that's how it was done. I mean, I don't know, it's probably being very generous to Superbright. Let's say that's done. But look at the detail that you can pick out in the horns. You can see the individual rivets on the horns. You can see the individual teeth. You can see his eyes. You can see inside this dude's ear. You know, it's still a little bit jaggy, but the level of detail on his face is good. Even the musculature? Look, even the muscularity of the demon is good. I mean, it can always be improved. It can always be better. I mean, if you're going to improve anything, do these guys. They look like my avatar. Why wouldn't you want to? Paint them up red, get some detail in there. So again, Abyss has not had any love, but I think they did a real superbright. Hats off to them. Credit where credit is due. I think they did a really good job on this level initially, and so it has grown well with all of the updates that we're now seeing for the Quest 3. Look at the lighting levels in here. Look at the detail on these stained glass windows. Bear in mind as well, these haven't been changed. We can just see more. I've always thought Abyss is probably one of the better looking levels, and now it looks even better. If you look at the detailing, press the duck button, press B, ducks, and look at the detailing. Now, again, it still needs being picking out a little bit better, but the mosaic here suits Abyss a lot better, I think, just because it's always been that way and it works. Oh, B button to get up again. Oop, still got Tempests on. Come on then, lads. Let's be having you. Yeah, see, there you go. 3 headshots fee. But again, so there is the possibility fee in that if you've been racing around playing the game in kind of tournament mode, you might be guilty of not fully drawing when you've come back to the main game. And it does affect the amount of damage that you do. Definitely does. Let's have a look at what lightning balls look like. I don't think... I mean, I have looked very closely at all of these arrows in the past, and there's no denying that they look better. On the Quest 3 and now with this update as well. The effects look good, actually. A little bit of improvement, but they look good. And I know this because I've looked at these arrows very carefully and very closely when I was doing my Missiles in a Minute series. So I spent quite a long time with these arrows up front and taking pictures and looking at the details and various bits and bobs. So, you know, I would personally say if you're going to improve anything on this game to give it a big impact, special arrows is where you could put some love in, and you could get some fantastic looking effects, and I don't think they'd have to do an awful lot of work for them, if I'm honest. So, you know what, that doesn't look... I mean, I know it's only a small patch. I don't think they would have used different lava across the pit and the abyss, but that seems to look a little bit better here than it does in the pit. So, don't know. It's a good looking lava effect. It's probably a bit fast, but it's a good looking lava effect. The glow that comes off it as well, that's not on my hands. That's the glove colour that I have. But the glow that comes off of it looks nice as well. So, one of the other things, just whilst we're playing through here, is that this isn't the end. This isn't it. This isn't everything that they're planning on doing. Oh, this is something that I want to show off. So, I've said for quite some time now that these skeletons are in dire need of just some detail. They should have been improved, because skeletons are a really good enemy to fight in this game, and they're awesome. But the problem with skeletons is when you do fight them, they're either dead or in your face because of how they work. They're the only teleporting melee enemy in the game. I think I'm right there. The other one that needs a serious overhaul is the Screamer as well, I think. I've never been a massive fan of the Tango Man in this game, but... you know, I think they could have done a little bit more with them. But, you know, these sockets should have some depth. We should be able to see the individual ribs. They don't need to do a lot with it. You know, still have it a textured model that looks like a skeleton. You know, I don't expect them to do individual fucking ribs and to have everything see-through. Problem with that is then you could fire body shots and the arrows pass through. Wouldn't that be cool on skeleton archers? Not. Seeing if that still works. Kinda. Aiming your Tempest high and down in the effort of trying to get the headshot. I always find that you can get headshots on Tempest arrows when aiming down and above a lot easier, that was a headshot, than if you try and aim off but straight. Those were not headshots. Higher was, though. Ooh, those three were headshots, though. But yeah, I'd love to see the skeletons get some love, like the shield as well, and the sword. Shield definitely needs some work. Give him the dinner plate that they gave us in the original In Death, that big bronze shield. It looks, I mean, it's still just a dinner plate, but it does look awesome. Or I don't know, maybe give them the shields that we can get, a la what Dungeons of Eternity are doing with all of their enemies, because I don't know if anyone's noticed or not, but as enemies get harder in Dungeons of Eternity, they're actually wearing the armor that the player can get. What a great use of assets. 1, 2, 3 full draws. So this, I think, the Black Knights are still going down in the same number. But as said, you may find that you're drawing short, and it's because of the tournament. I've done exactly the same. Exactly the same. Like, if let me corner this guy a second. Yeah, bit late. Let me get him to close-ish range, and then I will 1 3/4 him. Yeah, see? Like, almost, well, that was probably just over half. That's full. So we were about there. So about just under 3/4, he did take 4 shots. And it's because short range and low damage, because you're not getting full draw. Full draw is where it's when you are at 75% where you get full draw and full score, I think it is. Is it 75%? Don't know, actually. Might be closer to like 85%. I know they did this because there was a time when players found... Yeah, no worries. I mean, I can go back and have a look in Purgatory. But it's, I don't know, I haven't noticed the same thing myself. And that is, as somebody who pays attention to these details for the purposes of helping educate people on scoring, it's the sort of detail that I think I would have picked up on. And now I haven't got great memory. Do you mind? Get your groin out my face. I'm trying to present here. Detailed groin though, isn't it? Not detailed enough. Yeah, like I said, the lighting in some of these places. The lighting when the enemies are now dematerializing looks absolutely brilliant. Let's try and... Ow, ow. Ow! Oh, that was a skull. Let's see if we can get some enemies dematerializing. Like, look at that. I think that looks really good, actually. Looks better because... And the reason being is because it is a... that might have even been me short drawing, or I was very close ranged. That's a possibility. But yeah, ghosts now, like, they don't... Like, the death effect of them is still really good, and that shroud that they have is still good. Bit angular, but still good. But the level of detail that the ghosts now don't have, and it's not helped by the fact that they seem to be incredibly dark. Again, that might have been a decision. That might have been what they've done with ghosts recently. Yeah, the only one that I would have said, Fee, the only possibility is there are times, as we know, when it might take an extra headshot on a white knight, and the reason being is because it's not a white knight, it's a red knight in disguise. It's a red knight, but it's got a white knight skin on. So, but I know you said black knight, so. But yeah, they definitely don't have any more hit points. 1, 2, 3, 450. But yeah, obviously remember as well, distance. Distance is obviously a factor. The skulls don't look too bad. They just look a little bit angular now. I'll try and demonstrate again. What are you looking at? Look at that. Great effect. So this is what I'm getting at here is there's some things that are in this game that have thrived with this update, and there's others that really haven't. I'm struggling, if I'm honest, to find a lot of them. A lot of things that haven't really done so well with the update. A lot of the work that I believe Superbright has put in, potentially, or things that they have created, things that they have made, have actually turned out all right with the update. It's... Where is that orphan? Oh, she's on the stairs. Is she on the stairs? Is she outside? She's outside. Oh no, I know where she is. She's upstairs in this room with the 2 knights. Where do you think you're going, eh? She needs sorting out big time. She needs, instead of being this dull yellow, she needs to be like, have a metallic effect on her. Again, like in the original In Death. She needs that gold. Well, it doesn't necessarily need to be metallic, but metallic is going to be the easiest way for her to have a really gold, shimmery effect. And again, I think that is quite an important enemy to do because everybody chases orphans down. And if they look even better, well then, that, you know, that's something that's going to enhance player experience. Let's have a quick whip through here. I saw Despair. I haven't seen Agony yet. So this would be quite good. And Despair had all the same pros and cons. Like, for instance, the flame here is good, but the burner that it's within could do with a little bit of work. Just a little bit of touching up. It looks too sharp. It looks too angular. If I remember rightly, the colour scheme on these Cupids was done by Superbright specifically for... See, that I feel has survived contact with the upgrade better than the Cupids in the other one, because you can see lots and lots of little details. You can actually see the veins in his wings, or like the fingers. Oh, missed that one. The fingers in his wings. Or yeah, I can't remember what they're called. But yeah, I think that model looks better. The Cupids, as I said, the Cupids overall did get a bit of an overhaul in one of the updates. But I'm hoping they don't do what they did last time, old Superbright, where they started updating things and then didn't do any more. And I don't know if that was they ran out of time, assets, or maybe even, I don't know, game space. If that's even a thing. I get the impression it is. Because, you know, why did they take Runner away if it wasn't? Like, again, I think the Shard looks good. Doesn't look too angular. Still has that shape to it that we all know and love. Like, that's the shot that you want with a Wrath of God. See how many times that went off? That had enough hang time to almost do 1,000 points of damage, which for Wrath of God is actually pretty good. I have made this shot many, many, many times. Not on the Incubi, but I actually kind of fancy my chances on that Incubi if he was going to stay there. You know what? The Incubi don't look too bad. But again, I still think that they could look a lot more disgusting and need a bit of work. out of all of the models that they haven't done much on at the moment, I think Incubi is probably the one that they can get away with still. But I like Incubis. You know, they're a great source of points. You always see Incubis in Abyss, in the pits. You know, so they're a reasonably common enemy and quite well known as well. So, but you know, again, don't improve bits of it, improve it all. But yeah, this shot, normally it is at this sort of distance, because this is where I would try and peg these guys from, because it's easy points, kinda. You would struggle to see detail. I never used to take the shots from here because it was further than the range that you needed to be, if I remember rightly, and it made it really difficult to see them. But yeah, this level of detail that we have over distance now makes them look incredibly sharp. But yeah, the lava at quite a great distance doesn't look so great. At that mid, like this lava looks fantastic. That lava, not so much. Let's see if we can bang some headshots in. There's one. Doesn't matter if we don't hit this shot first time. There's two, lovely. Doesn't matter if we don't hit those shots first time, as long as you hit them with one headshot, because they can cycle one. Summoners at those sort of distances can only take one headshot. So if you hit them with a couple of body shots and then a headshot, it's the same amount of points if you hit them from that distance as headshot and them first hit you did on them. Remember, with these guys, even when they've lost their... God, you're going some, aren't you? Even when they have lost their summoner's mark, the little star of whatever it is, pentagram or Star of David or whatever it is on there, I can't remember if it's a pentagram or a hexagon. I think it's a pentagram. When they've lost that pentagram, they are still classed as spawned enemies, and spawned enemies in the level from summoners do not make us points. These ones are not spawned enemies, those ones are actual enemies, so they make us points. Anything useful? Yeah. Like, one of the other ones I'd love to see is I'd love to see the ice effect upgraded, because they can do so much more with that ice effect, I feel. And it would not be a wasted job either, because everybody that's still playing the game after many years is still using Winter's Bite. It's a very common arrow, and it is probably the most meta arrow in the entire game. Everybody who plays this game to a high level uses Winter's Bite. It is in their kind of final quiver somewhere, and the reason being is because it's incredibly useful for Anakin as a damage dealer, but it's also great when you get swarmed, because getting swarmed by... Hell, when you get to the higher cycles, you can get swarmed by 2 or 3 enemies as opposed to 6 or 7. And the reason being is because it can be very difficult to put the damage on them and keep them staggered whilst they're trying to attack you. And at like cycle, what is it, 13? No, not 13. Cycle 15 now, without any armor, 1 hit and dead. Ugh, it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Good challenge. Not one that I look forward to doing, though. I've been to that level too many times. I've never had to work with being possibly able to lose your run in 1 hit. That sounds disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Because that's then just 1 lapse in patience and concentration. And your run's over and you're heading back to Sanctuary. And yeah, even I haven't ever had to deal with that, and I've been to some very high cycles. Oh yeah, that'll clear this room. So again, this is how you would use Wrath in this situation, just like that. Maybe try and get it a little bit further. Not hit that statue. As opposed to that firing at full strength all the way down the corridor, because it won't get as much flight time. So it won't do as much damage to the enemies that it passes, because it doesn't stay close enough near them to pulse out its damage. And bear in mind as well, it does quite a lot of damage if you can get multiple pulses out of it. I think it still does 300 a pulse, yeah. 300 damage a pulse is a lot of damage. That's a lot of damage. So, see, because of how they've done the lighting, and because of how this level's laid out, I mean, there's still some bits. These rocks, the ones that Superbright obviously have put a little bit more love into than whoever did Purgatory and Paradise Lost, look a little bit better. I think they're getting away with more of it because of the lighting. Like, even the stairs don't look... I mean, they're a bit, you know, bit jaggy, but... Like, look at that. Look at that pillar. That looks great. That rock looks better than the ones that we saw in Paradise Lost. Don't know, but that there. But there, and look at that then as well. Even that end texture doesn't look quite as bad, especially in the lighting. Again, they don't need to be able to get away with this closer level of inspection. Like, I have never seen that before. And that's probably always been there. And it's just something that, you know, probably couldn't see because of the level of detail that we had previously. Like, let's have a look. These I have been up on before. Yeah, so that doesn't look too bad. So I'd say, at the moment, Abyss is probably the level that they need to do the least on. And then, obviously, there's Desolation as well. Right, let's have a look at the old battery. What we're looking like. 1 block. So what's that, then? That is... So... Yeah, actually, yeah, you're probably right there, Cynthia. I think that's... and Fee as well, because you mentioned it also. I think maybe it's using the same amount of battery on the Bobo side of things. But... Let's just have a quick look in Sanctuary a second. But, and most importantly... Now... No, that is quite a good point, Athom. 91%. Normally, especially if I was on top of my batteries as much as I have been tonight, as it happens, i.e. none of my Bobo batteries have actually got close to running out, really. They've got to 1 bar, but they haven't got run out. This would normally, even when I'm streaming, still be at 100%. So, in that case, I suppose, hats off, Superbright. It doesn't seem to be draining that much more. But then there is a possibility that the damage was done in Purgatory, and then it hasn't been draining much now that we've been in the levels that haven't had the you know, the flooring pressure washed. But yeah, right. I know no love has been given to Siege of Heaven. So if you craved the old look of Purgatory, it's still in Saints Approach. What I don't know is whether they're actually going to give any love whatsoever to these levels. Now, they will look a little bit better, and I would like to think that people who play... Oh, yeah, no, that is looking better. That is looking sharper. I would like to think that people that play Siege of Heaven will appreciate the, you know, the level of detail further out, and most importantly, the outlines and being able to see the silhouettes and being able to see the enemies more clearly. Although that looks a bit weird. So these are other problems as well. Like, that looks way too... Like, something's gone wrong with the lighting back here. And that would actually hinder, not help. Although it does seem to... When the further you move in and out, the worse it gets. And it's also being affected by the mist as well. So there are things that they need to look at. They can't just upgrade the game and then hope for the best on everything whilst they improve things in slow time. There's a lot of things. Like, the textures in here do not need to be improved. But I would imagine this will be the least of their work. But well, yeah, I mean, I always thought that was a feature. I always thought that little shimmy that they do, Athon, was a feature. But I was told quite categorically by Superbright that is a bug. And they shouldn't be doing that. They should be straight path. I thought, like, I used to say to them when we were doing the playtesting, there's like, fuck that guy who made them do that little shimmy at the end, that little stupid dance. Fuck that guy. I hope you sack him. I hope he burns in hell. And also, well done. You have prevented some of my highest scores with that little cha-cha slide that they do at the end. So, yeah. But apparently it's a bug. But they haven't fixed it. If they know it, if they're saying it's a bug, they know it's a bug. I don't think it's ever going to get fixed. It hasn't been up until this point. For those of you who don't know, when the enemies get to about this point, every now and again, they'll do a little bit of a couple of turns of direction. And those little turns have caused more people to miss more headshots and just enemies in general than probably any other move in the entirety of history. And I am including the PUBG wiggle that we all know and love. You know, that's caused a lot of headshots and body shots to be missed. And teabagging, you know, that's caused lots of losses of accuracy as well. Right, anyway, we don't need to be here. Yeah, I've had loads of perfect rooms by that stupid shimmy. So, one of the things I haven't looked at is... we'll just spend a little bit of time having a look at the models now. So, that one has the Old Faithful, the original bow, does not look very good and has not done very well. I'd like to see a little bit more level of detail added to that. Again, yes, I know it's the starting bow that you get, but there's going to be people that are coming to this game brand new, and if they've got at least a nice wood patina, because that used to look better, now it looks a bit bad. That one looks a little bit better, but these details need to be improved on all of the bows now, so they've definitely got their work cut out for them. That looks good. That looks good. Though these, I mean, you know, everything can be sharpened up, everything can be improved, but that looks good with the better things. Cheers, Von. I have just changed it over. Cheers, Von. Hello, Von. We've been in need of you and the humble pie. Like, this one needs a little bit more now. This one's always been one of my favourite bows when I had it, or when it was all I had. But now it's getting to the point where, like, I rocked this bow for a very long time. I like this bow, but now with the enhanced visuals, the level of detail needs increasing because this is looking a bit rubbish. You know, the eyes need to glow a little bit more. They used to feel like they did previously. And yeah, the detail on the skulls need to be increased. And the winged bow looks good. Again, everything can be increased. That one I don't think needs too much work. That one looks good. Seer's Path. This is what I'm using already. It's not too bad, but see all these angles that we're now getting on these little skulls? Those can be smoothed out. The angles on the, whatever this is that curls around it, is it a snake's tail? Probably. Some kind of wispy nonsense, or maybe it is a snake. So I did always like this about that. You've got the angel at the top, and then that used to be like a death's head looking thing at the bottom. That one's still looking all right, but again, just needs sharpening up a little bit. And then we've got... See, I'd expect all of these YouTuber bows... They actually look pretty good still. I know that... Let's have a look at the tournament bow as stands. See, that doesn't look too bad. And again, this is one that Superbright designed and added into the game. And that's looking That's actually looking like it doesn't need a lot of work, just a little bit of sharpening. And then if we have a look at good old Mateo 311 there, that's survived, I think. Oh, Beardo's one's, yeah. Beardo's one needs a little bit of work. That's gone a bit wrong. He's yeah, it looks like he's got dirt in his face. And he won the tournament, so you know, he definitely should not have dirt on his face. Soul Fox's one looks good. And yeah, we've already had a look at Steve No's one. So I think like having said that though, even Mateo's one looks a bit dirty, but you could say, oh, that's shading. Whereas Beardo Banjo just looks like, I don't know, someone's hit him with a mud ball, and quite hard as well. So yeah, that needs cleaning up. And they've caught his beanie as well, because that used to be quite a prestigious white. So, but yeah, and then crossbows wise, let's have a quick look at those as well. Won't spend too long doing this, but I thought I'd do this on stream whilst we're here. So, and because I have them all, and this is a good example for people to see the ones that they haven't seen before. So the crossbow's already looking better than the bows do, I think. Although that handle's looking a bit rubbish. That's not too bad for a starting crossbow. Look at that. I don't think I've even noticed that. Well, I know it's not a fleur-de-lis, but you know, that reoccurring symbol along the length there. And that's the first crossbow that you get in the game. And look at that. Don't know if you caught the light then. That was cool, actually. I caught the light and I got, like, look at this old kind of shimmery but also, like, worn effect. That survived. That survived quite nicely. Yeah, that actually looks quite good. That just needs a little bit of sharpening and that'll be good to go. That's really impressive, actually. So I'd imagine the crossbows look like they've had more love than the bows have for some reason. Like, even that crossbow. And that's the second crossbow that you unlock in the game. That looks really good, too. About the ivory. Yeah. Looks good. Again, a little bit of sharpening, but not much work. That needs a little bit more love now. That needs to be a little bit more detailed. They got away with it previously, and it's a very cool design. But now it needs to be sharpened again as well. And I was this looks better already than the bow. The bow version doesn't look... I know there's more space to play with on the crossbow and they don't have to, like, scooch everything up. But because this one isn't quite as dark, like, look at that. I've never noticed... And I had this crossbow for a very long time and I've inspected it. I'll show you how much I've inspected it. I'll be able to point out a face hugger and a kinky skull with a finger in its mouth on one of the crossbows. That's how much I've looked at the crossbows. I did do the same with some of the bows as well. But look at the spinal detail on that and the wings on this skull. And I don't even know what that is. It could be a rib cage, could be like skeleton fists. And then all of this detail, that's looking really good. Missed some eyes out there and there. But for the most... Oh, this one's got horns as well. I don't think I've noticed those previously. That, again, everything you could do with a little bit sharper, a little bit glowier. But that crossbow's looking real good on the Quest 3. And, oh, we've got to do the shields as well. Winged crossbow. Ooh. Ooh, I don't think I've ever seen that one look quite so good either. I didn't use this one very much. But the winged crossbow's looking beautiful. Again, a little bit of a touch-up. But other than that, no, that's looking really good. All of this detailing has really survived. It needs to be a little sharper, but it's really done all right. And then golden spine. Now, this one I've spent a lot of time looking at. This one looks a little bit angular now. Again, this has always been my favourite crossbow. Kinky skeleton with a little, little finger pull on the inside of the mouth there. When, when you want to get a grip on for some reason. And then if we have a look on the back, face hugger. See? It's supposed to be Well, I don't even know what it's supposed to be, because that's not how rib cages work, or even backs of spines. I don't know what that is. So it looks like a face hugger to me. Maybe a ye olde face hugger. That's a rib cage, and that's the spine and the back bit. And then look at all these. Oh, are they hands? Maybe they're supposed to be splayed hands with way too many fingers. So yeah, that one looks really good. Again, like, look at the skull here. That's nice and smooth. Look at the angles here. They're supposed to be there, and they still look good, even with the upgrade. So this one was one of the ones that I'd imagine. In fact, I'm like almost positive that Superbright designed this one. So what I'm finding is a lot of the stuff that Superbright have put into the game since Solfar created the original has survived, whereas all of the old tricks that Solfar maybe tried to get away with, not so much. Always love that little detail about the crossbow with the little spinning loader thing. Quick look at the shields, and then we'll crack on. We'll have a look at Desolation before we finish up. Now, this is something that drives me potty. Hang on. Get the bow back on just so I can shut it off properly. And do note as well, if you can change bow and arrow mid-run, but the game will remember and will still put you back on what you had. Is that a light in? Maybe it is just because we were dark. I still think he looks like he's got mud on his face and his cap. Don't know. Maybe that's how it always was. I've never known Beardo to be a muddy boy, but there you go. Anyway, so let's put my bow back on. I'm looking forward to this. I hope it's amazing looking. I don't know if it will be, but I'm hoping. So, this keeps cropping back up into the game. The reason being is because the rotation of the hand in combination with the shield, and it's more prominent on the different coloured gloves, but it's on there with all of them. I think it's less prominent on the black glove, which I think is what pretty much anyone who was due from as far back as the community challenge is actually using. So, but I see it all the time that, you know, it's literally just either clip it off or adjust the hand ever so slightly. The rest of it looks reasonably snug within it. But again, look at these wood textures. They've kind of survived. Again, a little bit more. The edges haven't so much, but the wood textures have. So if they can do it here, then they can do it on the bow as well. Have a look at the ornate. Ornate's not looking too bad inside or out. Just needs a bit of sharpening. Cupid's Wrath. This needs to be shiny, I feel. This definitely needs some, because there's quite some detail in here. Poor devil being crushed by some bloody angel coming up all up in his stuff. He was just trying to make his way. Just trying to make his way, he was. But all of this detail is good, but needs to be upped a little bit. And this needs, like, I don't know, a sheen of polish or something. That one's looking really good. This one was designed, obviously, very recently. The details are very good. But it's always that reminder, isn't it? I'm glad I don't have to use this shield anymore, because then I don't have to be reminded of the fact that we used to have an amazing mode. We used to have an amazing sigil called Runner. Cried many salty tears. And what about the inside? Inside's actually looking pretty sharp. And then Noble Protection. Oh, look at that detail. Still clipping a little bit, but that's only a tiny bit. But look at that. That's what can be accomplished. This was designed... this was designed at the end of last season. Coming up to the end of last season. So this was designed very recently. And I don't know if you guys can appreciate that. I know a lot of you won't be able to see it as up close as I can. But that is fantastic. That doesn't need anything. And so, unfortunately, and even on the inside, look at that. That maybe around these edges, it almost looks like you can see the PNG line. So that might need a little bit of touching up, and maybe there as well. But that's on the well, to be fair, the inside is what you see more of than the outside. unless you do the catcher's mitt or block. But yeah, that looks amazing. So unfortunately, Superbright, we know that that's what you can achieve. So show us the rest of the shields in this awesomeness. That looks really good. Like that, out of everything that I've seen tonight on all of the... Oh, we'll have a quick look at the shards. I don't think there'll be too much to look at there. So we've got yellow, red. Red one looks good. Blue, yeah. Purple, meh. Angelic. Ugh. Don't like the name, but I like the colour. Goes well with my glove. Want demonic, because that's a red one of those, and then I might change my glove colour back. So, yeah, out of everything that I've seen tonight, the shield looks amazing. The shield looked good, don't get me wrong, on the Quest 2. The shield now looks absolutely amazing. The detail on it, you can even get away with these outside bits because it almost looks like a filigree, I think the term is, like a silver filigree inlay, if you can even get silver filigree. I know filigree is usually gold. Anyway, right, so we're going to have a quick look at Asmo because he does look, things look a little bit better with his lighting now, and the lava effect actually looks quite good in Asmo's lair in places. And then we'll have a look at Desolation, and if we've got any time, I'll maybe start a Fletcher Orph Annihilation run. Ooh, show you Divine Sight. And I'll show you a trick as well. For those of you... I'm sure you'll have seen the video, but for those of you... I've only had Divine Sight times 3. If I get it, I'll grab it. But for those of you who are trying to get Divine Sight times 5 unlocked... Share a little trick. A good place to go and farm enemies when you have Divine Sight times 3, because to unlock Divine Sight times 5, you need to have Divine Sight times 3, you need to fire it off, and you need to get 3 kills with the 3 arrows that are fired. They are homing, but the homing is shit. And is actually based on gaze as much as homing is concerned, as in where you are looking at. And you need to do those triple kills with it 266 times. It's almost as obnoxious as the bloody 1,701 ghosts. At least, you know, straight from the get-go, that's just a grind. The Divine Sight times 5 one is a bit painful. But going back to what I was saying previously about people saying, oh, well, if I had those arrows, I'd be able to get a good score as well. Well, the fact of the matter is, whilst I was unlocking, it's the reason why I made my conclusions and came to my conclusions about how some of the homing arrows work and how we could get a better tune out of them in one of my videos, was based on the fact that I put the timer in to unlock them and started noticing things. So it isn't just, you know, there's some people that I'll never convince to, you know, 100% a profile. The thing is, I think it's quite important to do it at least once. I can't think of anybody who's in the top 10 who hasn't won regularly. Or probably in the history of the game that didn't 100% the game at some point. They might not be playing on a 100% profile, but it is quite important. You learn a lot. Learn an awful lot. Was there anything that anybody else wanted to see in particulars? Or anything you'd like me to cover? Or any bits and bobs? We're going to go and have a look at Desolation next. Let's just get out of here quickly and go and have a quick look at Asmo. So the roofs here don't look too bad. I don't remember spending a lot of time looking down on Purgatory, but I don't think they've done a lot. These side bits need more. The brickwork looks really good on all parts. And then I think I saw something here as well. Like, look at that. Now, I know we can't get too close to it, but look at that. I don't think I've ever actually seen that pentagram before, or never really noticed that pentagram before. And again, I have, you know, looked around the levels. I know there's some archways that have little tiger heads and little skulls, but they've been really washed out previously. I'll definitely tell you now that well, I can see that there is a skull, and then there's a skeleton, and there's some really nice artwork on the sides there. And then you can also see bits of artwork there as well, and all this crumbling effects on a lot of the stuff. So yeah, hats off, Superbright, to what you've created. It's withstood the upgrade that you've put on the game, but I don't know, that might be the determining factor. If Superbright were doing it first, it's looking good with the upgrade. But if it was a Solfar job, then maybe not so much. I mean, it's all a Superbright job, I would imagine, but... Did I see that right? Yeah, it's the light. Like, it doesn't look too bad. It's the lighting when it starts getting particularly light that you can see it. What do you know? It looks a little bit better because the lights are turned down low. Yep. See, this is all looking good as well. Look at that. And I've seen that before, but that looks a lot clearer. Actually, that's the point. I haven't actually paid any attention to the statues. I bet they're looking good, actually. Or are they? I don't know. They're looking a bit cut up, actually. I don't know if I like that or not. So, what that'll have been, I think... So that hasn't survived, I don't think, is that these guys used to have a bit of a glow and a bit of menace to them, and the way they did that is by having lots and lots and lots of little... I've done a similar technique in Paint 3D and Canvas when I've been doing thumbnails. Done lots and lots and lots of little bits of very harsh coloured detail, and then when you take into consideration what the viewer can actually see them at, it actually throws a blur on it all for you, so it looks blurred. Let's get a bit closer. I think that's what they've done. It still doesn't look too bad, but they can do better. Yeah, they can tidy that up. But these are the sort of cheats that I'm talking about. I know these cheats because I do these cheats when I'm doing textures and thumbnails and various bits and pieces. If you zoom right in and put lines on something at a harsh colour against a muted colour, and then zoom back, you can create a bit of like an artificial glowy, more detailed effect. But then if you zoomed right in again, you would see what's going on. And that's what we have here. They've used techniques that are a little bit cheaty, or all they can do to make it look how they want it to with the technology or the system that they have to work with. And then when you zoom in, because that's in essence what we have with the upgrade, it doesn't look as good. Oh, that's something I haven't looked at. The portal. I know we can't go into it. Oh, hang on. Could get stuck by it, though. Portal looks really good. Oh. Obviously, somebody didn't have a look at it from behind. Oh, someone's left a ray of sunshine there. But yeah, the portal effect. Like, you remember we were saying with... haven't got it anymore. With Holy Light, when I dropped it on the floor, you could... it was quite clear to see it was just a very sharp cut and no smoothing. Whereas the portal looks incredibly good. And there's no, like, sheer edges or anything that you wouldn't expect from a portal. And the shimmer and the shine of that looks awesome. Looks ethereal. Looks... portal-y. Ooh, oh, too late. There's no point investigating back there. Who goes back there? What's the point? So, Asmo. Like, yeah, it's only when you get close that you can see, like, these are the jaggy ends that I'm talking about. Now, sometimes you can get away with it because, you know, especially when it's on lower resolutions, they, you know, look like claws. Now it just looks like triangles at the end of fingers, or triangles at the end of, like, rectangles, so to speak. But again, the face detail's still good. I think we can perch on your knee. Don't mind me. Yeah. As I said, lots and lots still hold up. Like, that still looks great. And that's what I was talking about this whole sense of depth. That's what the knights are missing. That there is actually some depth on the model, as opposed to an effect to give it depth. And now that we've, in essence, zoomed in on that effect by having the higher clarity of the Quest 3 and the update, don't look as good anymore. Don't look as good. Look at those there. Never noticed them. Again, as we've said previously, there's a lot of levels of detail that I might now be noticing and never would have noticed because I don't go looking around for it. But I can't be the only one when a game updates from one platform to another to go, and see what work has been put in and what's been left and what looks good and what doesn't. You know, it's the first thing you'll do. I think so. Asmo looks better, obviously, but he looks more mottled and less glowy because of the effect that he has out there. Although, because the horns are still quite far away, they kind of get away with it. In fact, the horns look even better than previous. I think they look quite molten lava-y. So, let's... Just in case anyone was wondering, 3 of these, if you dodge 3, he then gets a bit tuckered out and has to take a rest. So Asmo throws his boulders in batches of 3. And if you're not quick or not particularly good or learning how to do Asmo, now's the time to attack him. Obviously, do 1 skull at a time, or 1 blister. Always try and do 2. Takes some practicing, and not just the hitting. Yeah. Indeed. My biggest tip with Asmo for these skulls, make massive use of your slow time and kind of just shoot the arrow in the general direction, because as those skulls are getting close to you, they are huge targets. They're actually very difficult to miss. But yeah, use slow time. So the edges of these definitely need some work. I still think the flooring in Abyss, out of all of the levels that I've seen so far, bar Desolation, is probably looking the best. Didn't need to do that. So this is what I mean here. If I fired this there, like that, should kill all of that. Cycle 2 or 3, you'd get survivors there, which is why you want to do that and get multiple hits. This is a great bit. The end part is a great bit for using Wrath of God as well. Well, I think you've made your peace with Asmo by now. Don't know, you might find the updates and all the graphical loveliness might give you an excuse to come back and give it a look. Give him another try. But this is the problem, is one of the easiest arrows to defeat Asmo with, you don't get until you've defeated Asmo. Wrath of God. Wrath of God's actually really good at all stages of Asmo. Wait for his horns to come up. If I arc this over the top of his head, it'll take out... No, that wasn't it. Does it arc a couple? If I arc a couple over the top of his head... Take out both of his horns. You can actually take out both of his horns without him even throwing a single thing. And then it's also it can also destroy all the boils if you fire it so that it arcs and bops him on the forehead or goes down in front of him. It can pop all of his boils and most of the skulls as well, which is really good. And it's particularly fantastic for clearing this part out as well. But again, if you... Most people use Wrath... Oh, I haven't got any left. Most people use Wrath of God like that. But I'm saying do that. And arc it up and over. You'll get much better results out of it. Ow. Here's something that I was doing in the tournament that I don't think anybody picked up on, especially young Michael. I think it was one of the things that was allowing me to keep up with his scoring, is if you get close... I did show it off in the stream as well. If you get, when you're being fast, if you get close to an enemy... It's not going to allow me to do it. Let me get the Hand of God a sec. You can do it when you're trying to be quick, but I'm trying to show it as an example. Hold on. So... This was the technique that I kind of come across whilst I was playing the tournament, or one that I know and found incredibly useful. If you try and hit them in the head when you are close with the end arrow, all 5 still go into his head and completely, massively one-shot KO him, which is what we want within a speed tournament where it's all about scoring. But then the other 4 arrows are likely to go and get hits and potentially headshots as well. I found myself getting a higher ratio of headshots. I think it was because of the angles that I was firing them at, but it almost guaranteeing that first headshot gets you good points. Now, this won't work here because there's too many enemies, but what you should do, if you have Divine Sight ×3, kill that guy, fire that over there looking away from Asmo. You don't want to be able to see Asmo, and then Divine Sight should hit just the Cupids and not his horns. Again, we've got a ×5 here. The reason why you kill 1 is you want just enough targets, so you kill 1 so you can get the other 3 kills there, and then they'll probably... Well, let's get him finished. But you get the idea. I've got a video on that instructs on how to do that technique probably a lot better off than I just showed it, since we're almost dead. Good old dicking around. This middle distance seems to be a really nice place to look at the lava from. Any closer, it looks a bit rubbish. Any further away, it looks a bit rubbish. But at the middle distance, it looks great. You can see where it starts losing the detail a little bit further out, which is a bit rubbish. But there you go. Right. Anyone want to have a look at Desolation? Looks good. Desolation has definitely survived contact with the old Quest 3 update. So, I think there's a few potentially oversights here that they obviously didn't have with the lighting. So, first and foremost, I don't think I've ever seen... I didn't realise there was quite as much in... Because those aren't assets, they're just like drawings. Because you can skywalk all the way over there, and you know they're not... They're like flat images. I didn't realise there was quite so many. Like, I can see that out there now, that out there now, that there, plus these. So it actually looks like a lot more of a landscape than it did previously. So this one was very highly developed and then probably scaled back for the Quest 2. So, like, that one you can always see at the start of Desolation. And that one, like, I can't remember there being a light on in that one over there, if I'm honest. So that looks like it's either been added or a detail... It's a level of detail that we couldn't see previously. But, like, now, this level, I think that might be Anakin's lair. And you would not have been able to see that from the start. We still can't see the torches, but technically they're too far away anyway. I think that's it, or maybe it's that rock. I don't know. So, there's a couple of other things in here as well. So the jaggies are still looking a little bit too jagged. I think the detail on the stained glass here is looking really good, and the lighting effect that's off of the sides of that as well, giving it that eerie blue, light blue glow, looks fantastic on these windows. This is what I was talking about as far as these are concerned. Look at that level of detail, and they're actually moving, they're actually slightly animated. Then go back to what I showed you at the beginning in Purgatory, where they haven't done anything to the flags, or pennants or banners or crests, whatever you want to call them. They're quite a prominent detail in Death, and quite a stark detail in Death in the original one, and really made elements of the level pop. They're doing the same in Desolation, you know, just improving the textures and putting a little bit of a pattern on them, or a better, sharper pattern on them would make them look much better. And again, look at this level of detail now that we're getting. It still doesn't look particularly great on the tops, but the stonework's looking great. So the places where they're able to cheat, they now are not able to, because we can see everything clearly. But look at this. Look at it all. It already looked good. It's now looking fantastic. So, and the mist that you can see here in places has actually always been on the level from when they upgraded it, I think. But it just looked a little bit washed out on the Quest 2 version. It looked much better on the Pico, and it looks better again on the Quest 3. And now that it's updated. So, you remember I was saying about them needing... Because it disappear when you get close to it? Yeah, it's only at a distance. So, you remember I was saying that they need like a level of mist on Anakin. That's what I'm talking about. That kind of low-level mist. But obviously, you know, it needs to stay there when we get closer to it. This mist disappears the closer we get. Right, let's try not to die. Let's go and get... I'll investigate downstairs when I can take a couple of hits. Let's go and... I also need to check out the Screamer as well. I forgot to do that when I was here last. Like that. Didn't matter previously. And it still technically doesn't matter. Like the stairs here, I would say, are better than the ones that they've put in Purgatory. But again, I'm a massive fan of the top of Desolation. I'm not a big fan of the underneath. It looks good, I just think it looks out of place. Yeah, we need one of those. Blood of the Lamb. There you go, 500,000 points dicking about. That's not bad for a cycle. Not great, but not bad. Oh, 2 holy armors, is that? Well, you shouldn't have. Maybe I'll explore a little longer. Oh, I didn't check that. That helmet was actually looking really good. But yeah, these chests need some love. Yeah, chests definitely need some love. Candles, they can be rounded up a little bit because, yeah, candles. 4 of them. And, yeah, I think the helmet looks quite good. And if I remember rightly as well, I have seen a Grace of God quite up close. And that looks good also. The particle effects on here are looking good. They've survived contact. But again, this outside thing, it looks a bit too harsh now. I don't remember it being that harsh previously. I remember it being a lot smoother than that, but maybe I'm misremembering that. And that's always been like that in Desolation. Again, these are the kind of cheats that the devs can get away with. And they still technically can, because most people don't look up when they walk into the shop. But if you get close enough and look up, you can see the light source. What they should have done is hit that light source much higher up, but then they wouldn't have got the angle that they were after. So, but you know, when you're walking in like this, doesn't matter. And when you get close enough, it teleports you in. But if you do look up, you see it. These are the little tricks I'm talking about. Like, look at these textures. Those need to be improved, definitely. These pillars are fine. Pillars are more than fine. They look lovely. Right, let's get downstairs. Let's go downstairs. I'd like to see as well, it was one of the things that I did say about Desolation. Why are any of those intact? They should be broken. Or, I originally thought when I saw the game that you would be able to break them yourself. When I saw that they'd added those windows in, they looked very destructible to me. But unfortunately, that was not a thing. Steady on, fellas. I'm pretty low on life here. Just dicking about. All this admiration. You didn't. Right. Let's go downstairs. So, I think then, so it's not the same stairs. These stairs have got more of a gloss on them, but it could, whoever said it earlier, you could be right. It could be exactly the same stairs as what we have here. I think they're a little bit different, but the ones here have a different... They've got the Quest 3 enhancements on without anybody going over them with a fine-tooth comb, so to speak. So maybe that's the difference in them. But I think these ones look different. These ones, I think, look better. The other ones look a little bit sharper in some places and then not in the wrong places. Like, that's... See, they can achieve something like a metallic gold effect. This is what the orphans need to be made out of, in mine often humble opinion. Like, look at that gold. So it can be done. Don't say it can't be done, because I can see it. So yeah, if they can make the... That's the exact texture that they need to make the orphan out of. If they can't put gold, shiny gold in, just cheat and use whatever it is that they've done there, whatever effect. Make the orphan out of that, please. Thanks very much. I don't even need her to mirror anything, or shadow, or even any lighting. Just make her light and sparkly, and all that good stuff. Like, that needs improving. Because that used to look like quite a cool spell effect, and now it's, I don't know, a little bit washed out. But again, didn't have to be very detailed, because the Quest 2 couldn't pick up on that level of detail. Now it can. Oh, you know what, Fit? Oh no, we're in cycle 2, aren't we? Fucking idiot. Yeah. Let's check out some of the detail on him. I've got a Hand of God. I should have got one of these earlier. Here he is, look. See, the thing is, the level of detail on him, like the scaling, the scars, the... I don't know, whatever the hell that is. Hello, Meg. The level of detail on him is actually quite good. And I think all he is a bigger, like, stretched out, buffed up abomination, because he's got the same one eye and scarred up in other areas and various bits and pieces. Animations have always been good on this game, I think. Oh, missed, didn't you, mate? Sorry. Sorry about that. No arse, though. So, yeah. I always thought the abominations looked a bit... They, like, for something that screams at you and comes running at you, I think they should have been a little bit more terrifying than a big tango man. But that's just me. I did say as much. I'm beginning to see why I think Superbright are not fans of mine, because whenever they do things that they think are really cool, I'm like, no, he's running at us and screaming. I want him to scare the shit out of me. I wanted the scream effect to, like, pierce the ears. Like, you know, like, fuck me, ooh, like, not hurt you, but, like, be an effect on the auditory to try and disorientate you. I wanted that screamer running at you and being like a bit of a flashbang to your game. That's what I asked for. That's what I wanted. This was all the feedback that I gave when we were originally playtesting the game. See, like, that asset's, yeah, it's not too bad. You can see they've added this kind of, like, shimmery shine to everything. So, what are bats looking like? That's something that I haven't checked out yet. Oh, look at that. You can see the individual teeth on the bats. So, again, that model has been given some hellish amounts of love. The textures still need to be sorted. The claws are now looking more like, yeah, kind of like Venom, exactly. I mean, I've never been that close to a bat before, really, looking at the detail, but I've never seen that. I don't think you would as well on either the Quest or the Pico, but that's really good. But at a distance, the one thing that I would say when the smoke's gone and everything is... Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Fee. I think the bats look really, really good. They're just a little bit angular in places, and they need their texture sorted out, and then they're done. So, but again, I don't come to Desolation, so who cares? Sort the ghosts out first. But yeah, I'm also in the same category. Ooh, I need those for my Pico. Did they do anything with the gold on these? Or am I just bashed in with my head then? Like, that's one of the things. The gold on the golden bats looks better than the gold on the orphan. And believe you me, the orphans are supposed to be very, very gold. Oh, it's a shame I can't see that very well there. How much armor I got left? Just the one. See, again, I know these details are all out of the way, but I'm looking at things where they would cheat, where they wouldn't have to put the various bits and pieces in, and how good or bad they look. That's, I don't know, seems to be quite an important factor for me. Like, they wouldn't need to do anything. But then the other thing as well is, like, you know, if you're going to hide all this stuff, then make it so that the player can't get there. But then also, I always complain about that. Don't make it so that we can't get up here. I love being up high. It's brilliant. If you can't be up high and rain arrows down below, what can you do in an archery game, eh? Damn. So, what else do we need to see? I think that's about it, if I'm honest. So, like, that's not too bad. There's still, like, you know, a bit angular, needs a little bit of detail, but that's probably the better of the statues that we've seen in the game so far. I mean, that's not saying a lot. It's still quite jaggedy and quite bummed, but that one's been done better, so I think that one's been made and designed recently. So, again, the ones that we saw in Purgatory, not so much. So I'm hoping they add a little bit more detail to the rooms as well. It's one of the big differences between In Death and In Death Unchained. In Purgatory is the amount of objects that are in the different rooms. Like, there's manacles and shackles and chains all over the place. There's not Iron Maidens, the hanging cages that you trap somebody in, probably just called hanging cages. I don't think there's a name for them. And then stocks as well. There's lots of stocks all over the place. Purgatory on In Death is a bit of an S&M dungeon, really. And the thing is, you know, Purgatory is where you wait in and potentially being punished whilst you wait as well. So, you know, that's a thing. Where are you? Oh, I haven't got a life to find out. Yeah, bye-bye. If you get out of distance of a orphan and you get out of distance before they stop laughing, and you hear the laugh stop before the sound effect for them ascending goes, then they've despawned. Which means that if you go back... maybe we lost her. Maybe I didn't get too far enough away. Maybe there's too many enemies about. Not the time, really, to dick around. Oh. To be fair, I don't even know where the orphan is. Oh, did we lose her? We did as well. Well, that usually works. So this is part and parcel of what I thought might possibly be a problem. I would normally have thought that that is far enough away to despawn an orphan. With the upgrades and the draw distance being a touch better, I think you might actually have to be getting a little bit further away from enemies before they despawn. Yeah, look at those two there. That is, like, way beyond maximum scoring distance, yet they're still spawned as well. So, as I said, I think that... Yeah, it's still going there. Look, I can still see them both. And then... Still see them both. Now they're covered in mist. But then the mist is cleared, so we can still see them both. Yeah, there. Yeah, I think that might be down to the draw distances. Because that'll work both ways as well. You'd have to get further away to get them to despawn, and they would appear and spawn in potentially closer to you. Orphans have a bit of a weird priority when it comes to where they spawn within the rule of 17. Sometimes they've got quite a high priority in spawning, and even if there's like 30 enemies around you, they'll be one of the first ones in. And then other times you can get the drop on them by jumping in and then spawning almost on top of you. I don't think it's random, but I don't think there's really much rhyme or reason to it either. So... nice easy time of it. Killing them things and stuff. And there you go, heartbeat's over. And more quivers, thank you very much. I just want to go and investigate down the bottom. See what other textures. Like, so look at the size of these burners. So these are literally just the tiny ones, but just enlarged. And they don't look too bad, actually. And the plinths that they're on don't look too bad either. But again, they need that sort of like metallic sheen to them to make them look and pop. Make them look really good. But yeah, these hills in the mountains and like mountainous areas, and then other areas, I've never seen those. And they've all been part of the backdrop, probably from the beginning, but we've never been able to see them because we haven't had the lenses or the graphical capacity to see that far, that clearly. So, hats off, Superbright. They're putting, like, I do it in like thumbnails, putting details in that nobody will notice or no one will be able to see. And I don't know, it's because I put a lot of time and try and put a bit of thought into what I do, even if no one's going to see it, you know, because I know it's there. And you can see the same with the Superbright developers putting things in that back then they didn't think we'd ever be able to see, but now all of a sudden we can, and it's the same for detail. And yeah, I don't think they had upscaling in mind. I would imagine In Death Unchained 2 would have been on the cards before upscaling was. But yeah, this is what I want. That's the colour. This, Superbright, this colour, and then whatever that patina is, or that like smear of grease. Put that colour on the orphan and then smear it with grease. There you go. Last Silver Tongue Devil's Statement 2023. Covering, shine her up, covering gold, and smearing grease. The orphan, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, well, that's quite good timing, actually. That's quite good timing, that. Probably won't continue this run. But yeah, I'd love to see... If anybody wants to go and have a look, I did do a live stream where we got as far as getting to Anakim. I think I might have almost died on him as well. Bear in mind, it's 0%, and In Death is a lot harder game than In Death Unchained. Let me tell you, the PC VR version. There's a lot of cool... It will be... No. I'll talk about it in a minute. But yeah, I would love to see, if you go on and check my live stream out for the original In Death, just skip ahead to where Anakim is. There's 2 effects that I want. In Purgatory, there's the day going to nighttime cycle that you get when you go to Anakim's fortress, the top bit in Purgatory. And then I want the mist, that low-level mist of the floor level. If they put it in thick enough... They wouldn't even have to do anything with the flooring. Just add that mist in. It would look so good. I really think it would look... It's the one massive... Like, Anakim's arena in the PC VR version looks really good. And I suppose they can because... Excuse me. It's its own self-contained small level. So they can really hype up the amount of, I don't know, graphical power and stuff that they can throw at it, I would imagine. Right, have one of those for me. Just hold that a second with your face. And then... Try not to die, try not to die, try not to die. Deal with you now as well. Note how I'm trying desperately not to look left and right. Oh no, one shot me already. Hey? Oh no. Oh no. We got to test that now. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Here's another thing as well. I'll test that in a minute before we come off. So, that effect has always been in the game. It's one of the things... I love wildfire arrows. They're just fucking garbage. They're useless. The effects are great, though, and I would use them because they are useful and they are a cool-looking thing. The problem with wildfires is if they had exactly the same arc as a normal arrow, they would be better. But because they have a different arc, and you also... Yeah, I know. Shot in the back, and I didn't look at the enemy to allow him to spawn in. So I'm wondering if part of the reason why enemies can't, when they first spawn in, shoot you in the back is the game hasn't got the processing power to render the objects behind you and track them. And maybe now it does. It might have been a fluke, or maybe I don't know, I might caught him out the side. Or maybe, just maybe, because of what they've done, they've increased the peripheries of your vision. And so he actually was in my vision, but I couldn't see him, so... But yeah, the fire arrows. But then another interesting thing as well, the second one has the lighting effect. They don't, like, so if I go 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll be the last one that has the lighting effect. The other ones just burn. So it's still only able to handle one effect. But then you look at other games that are out now, and they can handle multiple objects with multiple effects. Oh, that's a point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, still only able to handle a handful of arrows at a time as well. That maybe doesn't really need updating, but one of the things that I've always said is that on the crossbow, the reason why my crossbow has started stuttering when I'm rapid firing sometimes, because I'm not going as fast as I can go, even when I look like I'm going my fastest. And me and Beanie are both in agreement, but we've been told differently by Superbright. There was a time when the amount of bolts that was saved on screen was higher than it is now. I think it used to be you could fire 7 before they started disappearing, and you could even get to 8. Now it's 5, and what I think happens is there's too many of the same asset on screen, i.e. embedded in the floor, and then it can't load up another one quick enough. So I always, yeah, again, I tried showing them off because I showed them it with teleport arrows. Teleport arrows on a crossbow, I think I showed chat as well. I can fire as fast as I can go, but normal arrows I can't. And part of the reason with that is every time you fire a teleport arrow and fire another, it despawns the last one. See? 1, 2, 3, 4. So as I'm firing them, it's despawning them. So I can fire that as fast as I want because every one I fire despawns another one. So, but that works a little bit differently. So, but yeah, but again, even that's quite difficult because that's changing the button that you use to fire it. Right, we need to. Yeah, I was going to come off, but I need to test that now. Sorry. What's the easiest way to test it? Let's go save and quit game. Yep. Not that I just went save and quit game, didn't I? Idiot. Back in. Clouds look very nice. Nicer than previous. And look, they finally straightened everything up. I don't even have OCD, and that kind of messed with mine a little bit as well. Straighten it all up, make it look nice and neat. Come on, put some effort in. So, yeah, having a little bit more of a detailed look at the flooring as well. The flooring actually looks all right in Old Sanctuary. It's the assets that need some love. The flooring looks okay. That just needs a little bit of a higher res. Like, you know, these were added by superbright. Look at that. You can even see the fucking weave in those flags. Now that's special. I think those actually, I've been up on top of one of those as well. I think when you could do it in the tournaments, and those assets are actually done, you know, they look a little bit angular. They're probably doing quite a bit of cheating with them because you're not supposed to be able to get up there, or you can't get up there anymore. But yeah, look at that. And look at the ripple, the wind. So that would suggest then that for some reason there's wind in Sanctuary, but there isn't in Purgatory. Let me show you. So there's wind in Sanctuary, and there's wind at high levels in Purgatory. Let's go and do this quick. Got a theory to test. But then, yeah, I don't know how much work that is. But yeah, look, so there's... are there any? Of course there won't be any now. Like, these are looking good. Those murals on the side of the buildings, they're looking all right. Even those ones are looking kind of good too. Passable, at the very least. Yeah, those gargoyle head things, they need sorting out. These... Oh, come on, you can't get away with that. Even at passing detail, you can't get away with that. So that needs sorting out as well. Anyway, I wanted to try and find some... I bet there won't be any now. There'll be no banners. So yeah, there's wind at a high level. Those are animated. Those need a little bit more detail on them, I feel, because you'd be able to see it as well. That big mosaic... That big mosaic's pretty good, actually. A little bit of sharpening. She needs sorting out. She's needs sorting out for a very long time. In a graphic way. No, in a game graphic way. Well, I don't know, you know. Yeah, okay, so maybe it is the stairs from Desolation, but they've done something a little bit different with how they put them together. Any love for the trees? No, and we know that they can do a better tree texture than that. Can't get in the trees anymore. Spoil my fun, Superbright, you will. Right, yeah, look. That banner down there. There should be more variety. They should be more vibrant colours. And there should be some animation to them. Why there's not wind there, but there is right up high, like gusting right up high, and then nothing down below, just doesn't... I don't know. There should be a little bit of a ripple for them, I think. Not too much. Just a little bit. Anyway, right, let's go and have a look at Anakin, and... Ooh. I think I saw something else then as well. Yeah, look at that. At a distance, when they spawn in, they've almost got quite a... Instead of just a black effect, now when enemies spawn in, they've got like a smoky effect to them, which is very cool. That's a lot of enemies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's still... Like, and that can go up to 17 as well, and they are all active and ready to hunt me down. And that's like quite the sight as well, because they are all, even in the distance, quite clear. This is why In Death Unchained has always been quite an amazing game. You look at other games at the moment, they would not be able to handle this many assets without some sort of slow time or slowdown. I know I'm slowing down. Or stuttering. You know, it's still, regardless of what they do, the game is one hell of an accomplishment. Absolutely one hell of an accomplishment, except Cataclysms. Has to slow down when you kill enemies or damage them for Cataclysm. Otherwise, I get the feeling it might break the game. Let's see if I can get one teleporting in. It's going to be difficult. Yeah, and it's probably going to be easier to see on Anakin's lair. Let me get over there a second. Right, so my concern is I developed a technique which stopped me, or allowed me to get further on Anakin in Fletcher's just by kind of burning him down. And part and parcel, that was a really bad miss, part and parcel of the reason why that technique worked, as I've demonstrated in my Orphan Annihilation videos, is that it is on the basis that if an enemy spawns in behind you, as archers are inclined to do on Anakin, but you don't look at them, the worst thing that they can do is teleport into your view. A lot of the time, they'll just stay behind you inactive. Now, we got hit in the back by one of the enemies that was doing that. I'm hoping it was some kind of fluke. But if it's not, then I might not be able to get quite as far in Orphan Annihilation as I used to be able to, which is a bit disconcerting. Oh, got a test as well. Silver Linings still work on the Quest 3? I can't see them fixing this. Why would they? It's such a good technique and it's got my name in it. Ah, look at the big fella. He's doing us proud. Excellent. Excellent work, Anakin. Well done. Get yourself a sweetie. Right, so let's get you and you. Now, what we're going to do here is we are going to hit him enough so that we know there are definitely enemies behind us and then not turn around. And in theory, we should be able to stand here and not get hit. We can definitely hear that there are... Is that Hand of God? It is. We can definitely hear that there are archers behind us. Now we can look and confirm. No, they've all stood there. Good. Good. Well done, lads. I don't know why that one done it then. Not a clue. I was concerned then that that was part of the reason why it worked previously, is because potentially lack of processing power that we now have. So for those of you, as I said, who don't know what was going on there, and again, enemies that spawn behind you in this situation. So what I could have done there basically, or what it allows me to do within my Orphan Annihilation technique, is I can sit on this pillar, lure Anakin round this way, and just have... It's basically burning him down in the safest situation possible. The worst thing that happens when you're burning him down from this direction, his enemies spawn here. If you've already done a little bit of damage to Anakim and you've stood here, you've already spawned the enemies here. So the only enemies that can spawn near you all spawn behind you. And worst case scenario, they'll teleport close to Anakim and in your line of sight, as we know, because that's how they behave. That's just part and parcel of the game. And so they will teleport in front of Anakim whilst you're leathering him with all of these weird and wonderful effects that you get from the Fletcher quiver, which is a random arrow every time. And more often than not, if a monk does teleport in from behind you and gets in front of Anakim, they've got so much shit to deal with, they ain't hitting you. Cheers, Anakim. Thanks for the 2 cheeky hits. What a prick. Oh well, at least we got him back. 1, 2, 3. And we will not be continuing that run because that's not how you do Orph Annihilation. Maybe when Superbright drops some more love on this game, and I'm hoping it comes quickly because they're doing a good job so far, even if I don't like it. There's still time to change it, and there's still more improvements coming. So, but yeah, we won't continue that Orph Annihilation. So yeah, well done, Superbright. Keep it up. More. Now. And then that eloquent bombshell, we shall end it there. This has been In-Death Unchained, standalone on the Quest 3 with In-Death's latest update. As I said, the game has been improved overall, and then they've concentrated on some elements at the start of the game, and they are going to be taking this impetus and hopefully going over all of the game, or at least that is the pledge, that is the promise. Other than that, I have been Silver Tongue Devil. Good night.